Chapter 794. Qin Wentian stood in the center of the 9 immortality bells. Boundless runic light shone on Qin Wentian, enveloping him in a layer of resplendent armor. Right now, his eyes were tightly closed, but he could still clearly see the situation ahead through the 9 immortality bells. The 7 sword elders of the 7 sword sect were rushing over, each of them forming a sword formation that exuded boundless might. Their strength was so terrifying that it was terrifying. Qin Wentian drew in a deep breath as his will frenziedly gushed forth. The ancient city grew even more resplendent as rumbling sounds echoed out. Golden ramparts appeared unceasingly, blocking the path of those experts. Bang, bang, bang. The 7 sword elders were extremely intelligent. They already knew how strong this city was, hence, they didn't allow any of them to move alone. The might of their sword formation was so strong that even the golden ramparts of the Drifts Now city wouldn't be able to block them. Golden light filled the skies as the sounds of shattering rang out unceasingly. In the illusory space, Qin Wentian's gigantic body stood above the ancient city. He was controlling the Drifts Now city through the 9 immortality bells. Only to see him waving his hands as he stepped out. A moment later, countless buildings lit up as golden diagrams appeared in the Drifts Now city. These diagrams were extremely gigantic, resembling golden winged rocks that were forged from pure gold. Rise! Qin Wentian lifted both of his palms. Buzzing sounds rang out unceasingly as numerous golden winged rocks soared up into the air. With a long screech, the golden winged rocks slashed through the air, aiming for the 7 swords formation. Chi, chi. The wings of the golden winged rocks slashed through the sword formation, causing sizzling sounds to ring out. However, the sword formation penetrated through everything, directly penetrating through the body of the golden winged rocks, showing no mercy at all. This was the aura of a true swordsman, indomitable. How powerful! Qin Wentian silently mused, but his countenance was as calm as ever. The countless golden-winged rocks converged into an incomparably terrifying rock that blotted out the skies. Its wings reached a length of 10,000 meters, and as it swept out, it exuded boundless might, akin to a bolt of golden lightning. Chi! A piercing sound rang out as the sword formation finally broke apart. However, the experts from the 7 sword elders didn't stop. Each of them wielded a sword and continued their slaughter. They could already see the silhouettes of Qin Wentian within the 9 immortality bells. Not long after, they would be able to kill him and seize the city. The gigantic wings of the golden winged rock frenziedly slashed out, shattering the 7 swords formation. After that, countless chains shot out from the Drifts Now city, binding the weaker experts and dragging them into the Drifts Now city. Kill! Kill! 7 voices rang out at the same time. The 7 sword elders roared in unison as 7 sharp swords shot through the air, instantly landing on the gigantic body of the great rock. The 7 swords fused into one, their might shaking the heavens. Terrifying rumbling sounds rang out as the 7 swords pierced into the body of the great rock. However, the great rock still slashed out with its wings, as if it didn't know pain or fear. The countenances of the 7 sword elders didn't panic. Immortal light flashed from their bodies as layers of immortal foundations shimmered in and out of existence, containing boundless immortal energy. The 7 of them stood in a row. Their immortal foundations trembled as they soared into the air. A supreme might gushed forth, slamming into an impenetrable wall of the void. After that, the 7 sword elders soared through the air as a suppressive destructive might enveloped this entire space, exuding boundless sword might that could annihilate everything. Only to see that the gigantic body of the golden-winged rock trembled violently before disintegrating into pieces. However, at the same time, when he turned his head and glanced at the other disciples of the 7 sword sect, he discovered that more than half of them had already died. This caused their hearts to tremble, but it only strengthened their resolve to seize the city. Initially, they thought that with the might of the 7 swords formation, they would be able to sweep through everything and kill Qin Wentian with a single sword strike. Who would have thought that there would be a mishap, causing so many of them to lose their lives? The killing intent in their eyes towered up into the sky. The silhouettes of the 7 of them flickered as their swords returned to their sheaths. The sharpness of their eyes seemed capable of penetrating through Qin Wenqian's body. Seems like my strength is still too weak. It's not enough to unleash the full might of the Drifts Now city. Qin Wenqian silently mused. Although he could communicate with the 9 immortality bells with his will and control the Drifts Now city, the strength of his will would determine the strength of his control over the weaponized city, as well as the strength of his will. If he could step into the Immortal Foundation realm, only then would he be able to unleash the true might of this city. Staring at the 7 sword elders rushing over with lightning speed, Qin Wenqian took out the demon sword and sliced open his palm. Fresh blood dripped down, landing on the ground of the Drifts Now city. Drifts Now Master, lend me your strength. Qin Wenqian squatted down and tapped his fingers on the ground. Instantly, boundless runic light flowed towards him as the armor he was clad in grew even more resplendent. His body also grew larger as boundless light enveloped him. Qin Wenqian was clad in an incomparably resplendent armor as he transformed into a 1,000-meter tall giant. Boom! Stepping out, the bell chimes reverberated unceasingly. With him in the center, a fearsome screen of light towered up into the sky, causing the entire city to be engulfed in golden light. Rumble, on the ground, streams of light flashed as the divine spear Qin Wenqian forged expanded in size. The golden runes on the spear transformed into liquid and flowed into it, as though the spear was being reforged, causing it to become even more terrifying. The 7 sword elders got closer and closer. The killing intent in their eyes grew even more intense as they stared at the magnificent scene before them. Boundless runic light shone with Qin Wenqian in the center, illuminating him in his armor. This scene was simply too shocking. Even though their cultivation bases were high, they still felt an intense impact. However, this didn't affect their determination to kill Qin Wenqian. Bzz. 7 swords pierced through the air at the same time. Just like before, they were like 7 bolts of lightning that pierced through space, aiming for Qin Wenqian's body. That terrifying light seemed to be able to pierce through the heavens. Such might was simply too terrifying. It was impossible for a body of flesh and blood to withstand it. Qin Wenqian's gigantic arms waved as his long spear pierced out. With a rumbling sound, the entire sky and earth trembled. Such boundless might was something Qin Wenqian had never experienced before. It was simply too powerful. The 7 swords halted in the air, blocked by the fearsome vibrational might. Although they were howling in rage, they had no way to advance any further. The eyes of the 7 sword elders stared at Qin Wenqian as coldness gleamed in their eyes. They roared once more, "Kill!" As the sound of their voices faded, layers of Immortal Foundation energy erupted forth. A supreme Immortal might abruptly manifested in the air, exuding a terrifying pressure. Boundless sword might directly pierced into Qin Wenqian's body, wanting to shatter Qin Wenqian's bones. Qin Wenqian could clearly feel the fearsome sword might unceasingly piercing into his body. However, his body, which was covered in 1,000-meter-long armor, shone with terrifying runic light, seemingly indestructible. His feet stomped on the ground as he ruthlessly stepped forward. His long spear stabbed out as the 7 swords hummed in unison. The eyes of the 7 sword elders flickered as they furrowed their brows. A mere 3rd-level ascendant could actually borrow power to strengthen himself to such an extent. My strength is borrowed from the power of an entire city. Even if you guys have multiple Immortal Foundations, I will still kill you all. Qin Wenqian's gigantic body spat out a cold killing intent. The light of the entire city frenziedly flowed into him. Runic inscriptions shimmered on his long spear as Qin Wenqian stabbed out once more, causing the heavens and earth to rumble. Boom! At the instant the long spear stabbed out, boundless spear light erupted forth, forcing the 7 sword elders to retreat. However, the 7 sword elders were extremely terrifying as well. Although their bodies were as insignificant as ever in front of Qin Wentian, the immortal might radiating from their immortal foundations was sufficient to shake the heavens and earth. Lifting their hands, they waved their palms as a screen of swords appeared. The long spear stabbed out, unceasingly shattering the screen of swords. However, this screen of swords seemed to be boundless. Although it was destroyed unceasingly, it was also regenerating unceasingly. Qin Wentian's 1,000-meter-long spear could only force them back, it had no way to kill them. Imprison. Qin Wentian roared in rage. A fearsome screen of light manifested on the ground as a terrifying golden prison appeared, trapping the 7 sword elders within. Qin Wentian himself then soared up into the air, directly descending from the sky. Boom, boom, boom. The golden prison directly exploded apart. Qin Wentian descended from the sky, killing his way down. Every step he took seemed to contain the strength of an entire city, capable of crushing everything. The 7 sword elders madly fled in different directions, yet they felt a boundless pressure boring down on them. Qin Wentian's gigantic foot stomped down, shining with a terrifying immortal light. Rumble. A thunderous boom rang out. One of the 7 sword elders actually had no way to escape and was trampled by the gigantic foot. However, a fearsome might erupted forth as Qin Wentian's gigantic body was forcibly lifted up. After which, a silhouette shot out. This was none other than the 7 sword elder who was trampled on. His countenance turned pale as he involuntarily coughed out blood. Evidently, he was injured. Go. The 7 sword elders of the 7 sword sect soared through the air at the same time, transforming into terrifying beams of sword light that soared through the air. In just an instant, they arrived in the air, staring at the gigantic Qin Wentian below with unsightly expressions on their faces. Qin Wentian inclined his head and stared at the sky, feeling extremely shocked in his heart. That strike actually failed to kill this man. This man was merely a powerful existence with multiple levels of immortal foundation. Each level of his immortal foundation contained terrifying might. Scram! Qin Wentian, who had transformed into a gigantic figure, spat out. The 7 sword elders coldly stared at him. The 7 of them descended, but they actually failed to kill this man. This was simply a great humiliation. Seeing that the 7 of them didn't move, Qin Wentian stomped on the ground and soared up into the air. The long spear in his hand stabbed out once more as the 7 of them brandished their swords at the same time. When the 2 of them collided, a terrifying light screen radiated outwards in all directions. The bodies of the 7 sword elders were once again flung up into the air. They stared at the light that flowed unceasingly from the Drifts Now city to Qin Wentian as greed flashed in their eyes. Chapter 795. How powerful! Even though the spectators were separated by 1,000 miles, many of them could already see Qin Wentian. Right now, Qin Wentian's 10,000-meter body was simply too gigantic. Any of his movements could shake the heavens and earth, and when he stabbed out with his immortal-ranked long spear, everyone could feel the terrifying sharpness of the spear even from 1,000 miles away. Naturally, the 7 sword elders were also very powerful. Their attacks were extremely terrifying, and although they seemed tiny and insignificant in front of Qin Wentian, any casual attack from them would give off a terrifying feeling. That final strike of theirs caused a shockwave that radiated out to a radius of a few hundred miles. If there were experts in the surroundings, they would definitely be killed by the aftershocks. This city is too powerful. It actually gave Qin Wentian a battle armor. His body is over 10,000 meters tall, and he even dared to fight against the 7 sword elders of the 7 sword sect. Many people drew in a deep breath, including those Immortal Foundation experts that Pei Tianyuan brought here. When they saw how easily Qin Wentian used the ancient Drifts Now city to kill the experts from the 7 sword sect, a deep trepidation appeared in their hearts. No matter what, they absolutely must not step into that city. If not, it wouldn't be them surrounding Qin Wentian, but Qin Wentian controlling their life and death instead. There was a short period of silence in the battle. The seven sword elders and Qin Wentian exchanged glances, both of them could see the cold killing intent in each other's eyes. Is it very interesting to send the people of your sect here to die? Qin Wentian coldly spoke, his words filled with intense mockery. Although the gazes of the seven sword elders didn't shift, they already knew that the experts they brought here had all been annihilated. When Qin Wentian was fighting against them, he had also used the Drifts Now city to kill the others. In fact, the seven sword elders didn't even know how Qin Wentian was able to control this weaponized city. This voice was like a ruthless slap to the faces of the seven sword elders, causing their countenances to turn ashen. The seven sword sect mobilized so many experts, yet in such a short period of time, other than the seven of them, the rest were all annihilated. Not only that, even among them, one of them was injured and was trampled to the ground by Qin Wentian, as though he was stepping on an ant. If it wasn't for his strength, he would have already died under Qin Wentian's feet. But even though they hated Qin Wentian, they also understood that it would be extremely difficult if they wanted to kill Qin Wentian. In fact, one could even say that it was impossible. Although their attacks had already reached a certain degree, the battle armor of that 1,000-meter-tall figure seemed to contain the power of an entire city. Even at this moment, the boundless golden light from the Drifts Now city still flowed towards Qin Wentian. Just you wait. The seven sword elders who were trampled by Qin Wentian coldly spoke. After which, they transformed into seven beams of sword light and soared into the distance. Not too long later, they arrived at the periphery of the Drifts Now city. When they glanced at Pei Tianyuan, a cold light could be seen flickering in their eyes. Pei Tianyuan so straightforwardly agreed to let them deal with Qin Wentian. Most probably, he knew that the strength of the Drifts Now city wasn't simple. Even they wouldn't be able to take it down. However, they couldn't blame Pei Tianyuan for this matter. After all, they were the ones who wanted to act first, resulting in such a situation. Closing their eyes, the seven sword elders actually began to recuperate outside the Drifts Now city. Within the ancient city, Qin Wentian removed his armor and sank into the depths of the Drifts Now city, vanishing from sight. This caused the Immortal Foundation experts who were staring at Qin Wentian from afar to stiffen. This Drifts Now city was a true city. Qin Wentian just needed to casually enter a certain location and he would vanish from sight. However, it was fine as long as he didn't exit the city. No one dared to act rashly. Everyone was waiting in silence. In the next few days, experts from the various powers arrived one after another. The first power to arrive wasn't the power that had a grudge with Qin Wentian back then. Instead, it was a supreme power of the Cloud Prefecture that was located relatively close to the Jiangling country. The true Dragon Mountain was an extremely famous power. They believed in the dragon totem and were the descendants of the dragon god, possessing the bloodline of the true dragon. This power was passed down through generations, and after that, they also began to recruit disciples from the outside world. Right now, they had already developed to an extremely powerful level with over 100,000 disciples in their sect. Among them, there were several thousand immortals. This time around, the true Dragon Mountain arrived on a dragon chariot, flying through the air and arriving outside the Drifts Now city. Their aura was even more imposing compared to the time when the Seven Swords sect arrived. Even the true Dragon Mountain wants to interfere. They aren't a weaponsmithing power. Seems like after the secret of the Drifts Now city was unraveled, even these supreme powers couldn't endure it any longer. The crowd sighed in admiration. The status of the true Dragon Mountain in the Cloud Prefecture was above the Seven Sword sect. They were extremely powerful. The seven sword elders glanced at the experts on the chariot as they silently cursed in their hearts. They knew that their seven sword sect's hopes were extremely slim. They were the first power to arrive, and if they couldn't take down Qin Wentian in a single breath, it meant that their chances of obtaining this city would be extremely slim. Reverend True Dragon is also interested in this city. Pei Tianyuan stared at the old man on the dragon chariot in the lead. This old man was extremely famous and had extremely high combat prowess. He was known as Reverend True Dragon. I heard that this city is extremely interesting, I'm here to take a look. Reverend True Dragon sat on the dragon chariot, stroking his beard as he smiled. His eyes gleamed with a demonic light as he stared at the ancient city ahead of him. He already knew about the matter regarding the Seven Sword Sect. Not only him, most probably, the other major powers also knew about it. Hence, even for someone as powerful as him, he didn't act recklessly. If he failed to take down Qin Wentian, he would truly lose face. As for those subordinates, other than those extremely powerful experts, ordinary Immortal Foundation experts would only be courting death if they entered this ancient city. Although that legendary young man was only one person, this ancient city was as powerful as a magnificent army with thousands of men and horses. Interesting indeed. Pei Tianyuan smiled and didn't say anything more. He continued to wait quietly. Finally, the experts from the Jiang clan also arrived. They drove their terrifying war chariots over, the golden war chariots gleamed brilliantly under the sunlight as they hummed in the air. Within these war chariots, a fearsome energy could be felt. Are these the immortal ranked war chariots created by the Jiang clan? I heard that a group of war chariots could easily crush a group of Immortal Foundation characters, combining both offense and defense into one. How terrifying! Countless gazes landed on the experts from the Jiang clan. As expected of a peak-tier weaponsmithing power. This time around, there were over 10 war chariots that flew out. With a single command, they would be able to trample over the entire Drifts Now city, causing the hearts of everyone to tremble. Interesting, the Jiang clan is truly ruthless. Reverend True Dragon glanced at the war chariots in the air. It was very rare for the Jiang clan of the Cloud Prefecture to send out so many war chariots. This time around, just to deal with a mere third-level ascendant, they actually sent out such a force. This was truly rare. The experts from the Battle Heavens Immortal Manor and Myriad Sage Academy also arrived. The battle intent from the experts from the Battle Heavens Immortal Manor towered up into the sky while those from the Myriad Sage Academy were much calmer. After all, they weren't a sect but an academy. Other than these powers, the Blood Flame Clan, Blazing Sun Divine Sect and other major powers also came. And these were merely the first-rate powers of the Cloud Prefecture. It was unknown how many of the weaker powers came. The gazes of everyone in the Jiangling country were all focused on the Drifts Now city. The major powers of the Cloud Prefecture were also paying close attention to this. Qin Wentian stood at the peak of the 9 Immortality Bell with his hands clasped behind his back. With a single glance, he could see that the outskirts of the Drifts Now city were densely packed with human silhouettes. Not only were there many people, there were also experts from the various powers. The entire Drifts Now city was completely surrounded. Only the Drifts Now city was still as clean as before, with only Qin Wentian alone. This scene was naturally discovered by the people in the outskirts of the ancient city. There were countless experts here for the sake of a single person. Yet in the vast ancient city, there was only a single person standing there proudly, nobody dared to enter. This scene could also be considered a miraculous sight. Everyone, are you guys still not going to act? Outside the ancient city, many figures stared in the direction of the city. Reverend True Dragon sat on his war chariot, staring at the experts of the Jiang clan in the air as he spoke. Jiang Yi, I heard that you are determined to win this time around. Even with such a lineup of experts from the Jiang clan, why are you still so cautious? Jiang Yi stood on his war chariot. He lowered his head and glanced at Reverend True Dragon before sweeping his gaze over to the experts in the surroundings. Since everyone is here, let's discuss this. If we take down this city, who would be the one to control it? What do you propose? Reverend True Dragon asked. Whoever kills him shall obtain this city. No one is allowed to object. How about it? Jiang Yi pointed to Qin Wentian. Let's ask the experts from the various powers. Reverend True Dragon spoke. After which, he continued, the experts of the Jiang clan wished to set a gentleman's agreement. Whoever kills Qin Wentian shall obtain this city. The other powers are not allowed to contest for it. What do you all think? His voice shook the heavens and earth, transforming into fearsome sound waves that permeated 1,000 miles. Even for Qin Wentian, who was on the 9 immortality bells, he could clearly hear Reverend True Dragon's voice. His countenance was as calm as ever, no one could tell what he was thinking. Even though his opponent used his life as the wager, no one could see the anger on his face. I agree. The 7 sword elders were the first to agree. If it was a competition of strength, the Jiang clan and the True Dragon Mountain were the strongest. It would be very hard for them to win. Killing Qin Wentian, obtaining the weaponized city, everyone had a chance. I agree as well. Another major power replied. Very swiftly, the experts from the various powers all agreed, there were no objections. Their voices joined together, reverberating through this entire space, forming a towering pressure. Only Qin Wentian continued standing proudly in the city. In a certain direction outside the city, 2 silhouettes stood together. One of them was none other than Mu Yan, whom Qin Wentian was acquainted with. As for the other, he exuded no aura at all, yet he gave off a strange feeling. He was clad in black, and if one didn't pay close attention, it was as though he didn't exist at all. His gaze was fixed on Qin Wentian as a teasing smile appeared on his face. He silently mused, interesting, to think that I would be able to meet a junior apprentice brother here. Being able to cause such a commotion, it's truly rare. I wonder who was the one who introduced you into the sect. This person was none other than Qin Wentian, a disciple from the Heavenly Talisman realm. Chapter 796. The disciples of the Heavenly Talisman realm all hid their identities in the immortal realms. No one would know that they were from the Heavenly Talisman realm. However, when the disciples of the Heavenly Talisman realm entered the Heavenly Talisman Palace, there would be imprints on them. Hence, the moment they met, they would be able to sense that they were from the same sect. The perception of this black-robed man was extremely powerful. His perception could clearly sense Qin Wentian, who was far away, and from there, he could ascertain that Qin Wentian was the same as him, a disciple of the Heavenly Talisman realm. Of course, Qin Wentian did not have such powerful perception to detect the existence of the other party. Master, these people are all hegemonic powers of the Cloud Prefecture. So many of them came here just for the sake of killing a junior at the 3rd level of celestial phenomenon. Yet, they still dare to speak in such a dignified manner. How shameless. Mu Yan, who was at the side, coldly spoke. He couldn't bear to see these hegemonic powers of the Cloud Prefecture acting so forcefully. It turned out that this black-clothed man was Mu Yan's master, the Sabersman of Death. However, even Mu Yan didn't know that the Saber Lord of Death was someone from the Heavenly Talisman realm. The members of the Heavenly Talisman realm weren't allowed to join other powers, but it was completely possible for them to recruit disciples. If the disciples were outstanding enough, they could even be recommended to join the Heavenly Talisman realm. Isn't that normal? The Death Swordsman had a faint smile on his face. Master, do you intend to make a move? Mu Yan asked as he looked at the Sabersman of Death. You want me to make a move? The Death Swordsman asked Mu Yan. Master, you are a lone ranger, you don't care about offending these powers. If you can't protect this city, can you bring Qin Wentian away? It would be a pity for such a talent to die here. If you like him, you can even accept him as your disciple. Mu Yan had a faint smile on his face as he gazed into the distance. The Saber Lord of Death didn't reply, and at this moment, the experts forcefully moved. Jiang Yi stood on a fearsome golden war chariot. The war chariot had a pair of wings, and there was a sharp spear in front of it. Just a single glance was enough to cause people to feel fear. Everyone, let's crush them from the sides. Jiang Yi arrogantly spoke, his voice shaking the heavens and earth. As the sound of his voice faded, rumbling sounds rang out as the war chariots of the Jiang clan started moving at the same time, speeding towards the Drifts Now city. A sharp golden light radiated from them, wanting to crush everything in their path. The runic light of the entire Drifts Now city began to flow. Chains, arrows, and golden walls erupted forth in a frenzy. However, everywhere the war chariots passed by, everything was destroyed. Other than this, the experts from the various powers all advanced from different directions, with the leaders of the major powers taking the lead. These leaders were all supremely powerful, and everywhere they passed by, everything was destroyed. It's over. The spectators in the surroundings of the ancient city all had the same thought in their hearts when they saw the shocking scene unfolding before them. This battle was finally coming to an end. Even if the monstrous Qin Wentian had borrowed the power of the ancient city to repel the Seven Swords Elders, under the iron hooves of the various tyrants, there was no hope for him. Most probably, this young genius was going to fall here today. Although the Drifts Now city was 1,000 miles in size, to these experts, 1,000 miles wasn't considered anything at all. Not too long after, the destructive auras from all directions gushed towards Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian borrowed the power of the city, transforming into a 10,000-meter tall giant. He wielded a terrifying divine long spear and was clad in martial attire, exuding a lofty aura as he stood there, waiting for the experts to arrive. Many golden wings appeared in the ancient Drifts Now city. These wings fluttered about frenziedly, landing on Qin Wentian's armor. Not too long after, a pair of incomparably resplendent golden wings appeared on the back of Qin Wentian's gigantic body. Runic inscriptions shimmered on the wings as immortal light circulated around them. The edges of the wings were like incomparably sharp blades, capable of slicing through everything. Are they here? Qin Wentian mumbled. With an intention of his will, the 9 immortality bells transformed into a screen of light that enveloped his body. In his mind, there was a picture scroll that depicted the entirety of the Drifts Now city. Rumble. Terrifying rumbling sounds rang out as the earth trembled. With Qin Wentian at the center, the Drifts Now city started to reconstruct itself. Numerous pieces of golden earth that shone with incomparably dazzling runic light directly rose up, transforming into an impenetrable wall that separated the space within a radius of 100 miles. Countless stone walls rose up at the same time, isolating the space within. With a single glance, one could see countless floating golden walls. Many experts were obstructed by the stone walls. They frenziedly attacked, attempting to break through the barrier. I must obtain this city for sure. Jiang Yi stood on the war chariot, staring at the stone walls around him. His countenance was incomparably sharp as he drove the war chariot forward. The long spear on the chariot shone with a towering golden light as it smashed forward. Piercing sounds rang out as the incomparably sharp spear directly pierced through the stone walls, causing the golden walls to shatter apart. However, the weaker experts weren't so lucky. They formed groups of 3 to 5 and were trapped. Staring at the terrifying stone walls around them, they frenziedly attacked, but to think that they had no way to break through them. In a certain space, there were a few experts from the Battle Heaven's Immortal Manor. They unleashed their strongest attacks, slamming into the stone walls in front of them. Finally, with a thunderous boom, the stone walls shattered apart. Their faces were filled with excitement, yet they only saw an incomparably resplendent pair of wings directly cleaving apart the void, sweeping over. This beautiful pair of wings was like an indomitable blade, easily sweeping through the air. A few piercing sounds rang out as their bodies were directly severed. After which, the gigantic silhouette of the Battle Heaven's Immortal Manor vanished completely. The experts outside the ancient city were once again stunned by this weaponized city. The central area of the Drifts Now city seemed to have completely collapsed. The ground rose up into the air, transforming into numerous heavenly walls that isolated this space from the outside world. These experts were like blind men, only Qin Wentian's gigantic silhouette was flickering unceasingly, allowing them to see him clearly from the outside world. At this moment, they only saw Qin Wentian's 10,000-meter tall body appearing in the air. He stomped downwards, causing a thunderous boom to echo out as he crushed the lives of countless people. Its wings flapped, and its huge body reached an unimaginable speed. An incomparably huge spear shot out from another direction, directly killing an expert. Very swiftly, Qin Wentian's silhouette appeared at the outermost boundary of the collapsed space, starting his massacre from behind. When the spectators outside saw every time his spear stabbed out, an Immortal Foundation expert would die, they couldn't help but feel a chill in their hearts. They initially thought that this would be a battle of absolute annihilation, yet they had clearly underestimated the capabilities of this ancient Drifts Now city as well as Qin Wentian. Jiang Yi and the experts from the Jiang clan as well as Reverend True Dragon had already killed their way to the center. They didn't see Qin Wentian's silhouette, they stared at the floating stone walls as a cold light flashed in their eyes. Reverend True Dragon. Only to see Jiang Yi turning his gaze to Reverend True Dragon as he spoke, "Don't sit here and watch as so many experts die." Reverend True Dragon, who was still sitting in the dragon carriage, laughed, "I will naturally do my best." After speaking, he stretched out his arm, abruptly transforming into an incomparably terrifying arm that blotted out the skies, wanting to destroy everything. Qin Wentian was currently killing his enemies when he suddenly discovered an incomparably gigantic arm grabbing towards him. His countenance involuntarily flickered as he stepped out, stabbing out with his terrifying long spear. The arm collided with the long spear, but it actually didn't shatter. It transformed into a fearsome true dragon that lunged towards Qin Wentian, terrifying to the extreme. "Break for me!" Qin Wentian roared in rage as he dashed forward. His wings blotted out the sun as he brandished his long spear, shooting towards the true dragon arm. Thunderous rumbling sounds rang out as the true dragon arm exploded apart unceasingly. Reverend True Dragon stepped down from the true dragon chariot, his eyes flickering with a cold smile as he stared at Qin Wentian. "Your life is mine." Reverend True Dragon spoke. At the same time, both of his hands stretched out as two true dragon arms grabbed towards Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian's countenance was terrifyingly cold. He stepped out as thunderous rumbling sounds rang out. Boundless strength erupted from his body as his long spear pierced out with an unstoppable force. However, he only saw an arm of his opponent directly grabbing hold of the spear, allowing the spear to tear it apart. Reverend True Dragon abruptly pulled his body back and instantly appeared before Qin Wentian. He opened his mouth and with a roar of rage, he transformed into a 1,000-meter vortex that resembled the mouth of a true dragon, shooting towards Qin Wentian. The wings on Qin Wentian's back flickered as he directly closed them. At the same time, he blasted out with the vortex, forcibly blocking the attack. Boom! A resplendent golden beam of light shot over, akin to a bolt of lightning. The golden spear was extremely dazzling, piercing through space as it shot towards Qin Wentian's 1,000-meter body. Qin Wentian's gigantic left arm smashed out, slamming into the war chariot that was rushing over. With a thunderous boom, he felt a piercing pain in his arm. The silhouette of Qin Wentian, Jiang Yi, stepped down from the war chariot. There was a treasured wheel in his body that shone with resplendent immortal light. The wheel blasted out, destroying everything in its path, aiming for Qin Wentian's body. At this moment, Qin Wentian didn't have the time to care about anything else. He exerted force with his wings and borrowed the rebounding force to retreat with explosive speed. However, he only saw the treasured wheel slamming into him as a thunderous boom rang out, slamming into his body, tearing apart his fearsome defensive armor, leaving behind a trail of fresh blood. Qin Wentian retreated far away, only to see numerous figures shooting over. These were all the strongest Immortal Foundation experts, the weakest among them was at the 7th level. All of them were staring at Qin Wentian with disdain. Although Qin Wentian's body was 1,000 meters tall, under the circumstances where so many experts surrounded him, he still seemed extremely tiny. The immortal light radiating from all of them made them seem like towering giants. Attack and destroy the city. Jiang Yi commanded. The war chariots behind him emitted rumbling sounds as they unceasingly attacked the ground. Long spears smashed through the ground, wanting to destroy the runic inscriptions of the ancient city. Once the runic inscriptions were destroyed, the power of the weaponized city would be severed. Upon seeing this scene, Qin Wentian's eyes turned extremely cold. He felt a sense of helplessness despite having the will to do so. Chapter 797. Although the weaponized city created by the Drift's now master and immortal Jade was strong, he wasn't strong enough and couldn't unleash the full might of the weaponized city. This was why he was forced into a corner by these people. If the Drift's now master was still alive, how could he allow these people to be so arrogant? Most probably, he would be able to easily crush all of them. Unless one was at the Immortal King realm, who would dare to come here to send themselves to death. Although his body was gigantic, the experts surrounding him gave him an extremely strong sense of pressure. You guys are truly fast. Reverend True Dragon swept his gaze over to the people in the surroundings. Although they were all tyrannical experts, when compared to Qin Wentian, they were simply too insignificant. These people were the strongest batch and each of them had a combat prowess that could threaten Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian, you and Sharon are good friends. Since you came here, we will do our best to protect you. At this moment, a voice drifted into Qin Wentian's ears. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. The person who spoke was an old man, an expert from the Wondergate Immortal Manor. This person transmitted his voice to him, telling him to head to the location he wanted. However, before this, Qin Wentian had already received Sharon's warning. How could he trust others so easily? Although Sharon was a disciple of the Wondergate Immortal Manor, the relationship between him and this senior wasn't that great. For the sake of benefits, why would he protect Qin Wentian? The probability was simply too low. One must know that they had an agreement that whoever killed Qin Wentian would obtain the weaponized city. Senior is willing to help me? Qin Wentian stared at the old man from the Wondergate Immortal Manor. After which, he directly stepped out, moving in the direction of the old man, as though he wasn't on guard at all. At this instant, the gazes of the experts all landed on the old man from the Wondergate Immortal Manor. Many thanks, Senior. Qin Wentian lowered the long spear in his hand. His speed was extremely fast as he sprinted towards the old man, as though he truly trusted him. However, at this moment, an extremely cold light flashed in the eyes of this old man. When he saw Qin Wentian rushing over, his palm transformed into a terrifying furnace that radiated destructive flames. His palm seemed to contain a world of flames. Once the flames gushed out, it would be able to melt everything. The old man's figure flashed, and he went straight to Qin Wentian's huge body, his eyes bursting with killing intent. Senior. Qin Wentian's expression changed drastically. It was as if he didn't know that the other party would suddenly attack him, and it seemed like he couldn't dodge at all. How dare you? The countenances of the other experts were extremely cold. They actually didn't attack Qin Wentian but chose to directly attack that old man instead. Reverend True Dragon's arms expanded explosively as he blasted out. Jiang Yi from the Jiang clan unleashed his treasured wheel, instantly arriving before him. The swords of the 7 sword elders shuttled through the air with lightning speed, aiming for that old man from the Wondergate Immortal Manor. There were also experts from the Battle Heaven's Immortal Manor, Blood Flame Clan and Blazing Sun Divine Sect. That old man turned pale. He couldn't care less about killing Qin Wentian anymore as he explosively retreated. But everything was already too late. How powerful was Reverend True Dragon's arms? He directly grabbed hold of that old man. The sun swords from the Blazing Sun Divine Sect slashed downwards, as well as Jiang Yi's treasured wheel. Numerous tyrannical attacks blasted out at the same time. The destructive power of this attack was something that the old man from the Wondergate Immortal Manor couldn't endure at all. He inclined his head in despair, only to see a cold light flickering in the eyes of Qin Wentian. "You!" That old man from the Wondergate Immortal Manor let out a roar of rage. However, Qin Wentian's countenance was as cold as ice. If it wasn't for this old man wanting to kill him, how would he be ambushed by these people? This was what they meant by bringing disaster upon themselves. A gigantic pair of wings tore through the air. Qin Wentian stepped out, moving in the direction of the 7 sword elders. The long spear in his hand stabbed out, causing the entire space to tremble. Impudent! The countenances of the 7 sword elders turned ashen. This Qin Wentian actually chose them as his targets. Was he looking down on them? The might of their immortal foundations gushed forth as resplendent immortal halos radiated from them. Towering swords manifested, and each sword was as large as Qin Wentian's long spear, exuding an unexcelled might that could lacerate everything. At the same time, a destructive sword might permeated the entire space. If there were first-level or second-level Immortal Foundation experts in the surroundings, they would most probably be slain instantly. The terrifying True Dragon arm slashed over. Qin Wentian's countenance was incredibly ugly to behold. He blasted out with his palms, clashing against the True Dragon arm. Borrowing the rebound force, his wings flapped furiously as he retreated backwards. "Do you think you can escape?" A cold voice rang out. The shadow of a war god appeared behind the old man from the Battle Heaven's Immortal Manor. He blasted out 1,000,000 palm imprints in rage, pressing downwards. Qin Wentian lifted his palms and attacked. Countless palm imprints blasted out, slamming into Qin Wentian's body, causing him to plummet downwards. The old man from the Blood Flame clan left behind a blood-colored mark on Qin Wentian's body. The mark continued to extend, seeping into Qin Wentian's armor. Jiang Yi's treasured wheel tore apart Qin Wentian's armor and body. They attacked Qin Wentian just like how they dealt with the old man from the Wondergate Immortal Manor. In just an instant, despite Qin Wentian's defense, he was still slammed into the ground as fresh blood flowed from his body. Numerous beams of light flashed, those experts in the air frenziedly attacked Qin Wentian, not giving Qin Wentian any time to catch his breath. They had to kill Qin Wentian in a single blow before they would be satisfied. Qin Wentian stood up. Boundless runic light circulated around him as countless chains soared up into the air. However, they couldn't block the attacks of those experts. "Your life is mine." Reverend True Dragon coldly spoke. His body abruptly expanding to a size of 10,000 meters, resembling a malevolent-looking demonic dragon. His incomparably gigantic frame directly shot towards Qin Wentian. Scram! Qin Wentian roared in rage. His long spear pierced up into the air, blocking his opponent's attack. However, it was useless. The attacks of the other experts arrived as well. After a series of rumbling sounds, Qin Wentian's entire body trembled violently as he coughed out fresh blood. His gigantic body was on the verge of collapse. From afar, outside the ancient Drifts Now city, there were people who sighed in their hearts when they saw this scene. Qin Wentian was an outstanding talent of his generation, but in the end, he was still going to fall here. Sharon and Pei Yu were both here. Their countenances were pale, silently hating their helplessness. Mu Yen stared at his master beside him as he spoke. "Master, do you really not intend to act? Since he didn't leave, I'd rather believe that he has his own trump cards. If not, could it be that he would just wait for death here?" The Saber Lord of Death crossed his arms in front of his chest, appearing extremely calm. He believed that those who could enter the heavenly talisman realm wouldn't be ordinary. He also believed in the judgment of the person who recommended this person. If one wasn't a demon-level genius, they wouldn't be able to enter. The fifth astral soul required a violet gold astral soul. Given the current situation, how can we reverse the situation? Mu Yen shook his head and sighed. At this moment, Qin Wentian was forced to the ground once again. He was half kneeling on the ground as he inclined his head, his eyes gleaming with a fearsome light. I don't wish to try. Qin Wentian coldly spoke, his words causing the countenances of those people to stiffen as they stared at Qin Wentian. Try? What else could he try? Since you guys want this ancient city so much, I will grant you your wish. Go and converse with the Drifts Now Master. Qin Wentian spoke. After which, he closed his eyes as the bell chimes abruptly rang out, causing the entire Drifts Now city to tremble. What does that mean? The countenances of everyone changed. Converse with the Drifts Now Master. Could it be that the Drifts Now Master hasn't died yet? You guys destroyed the blood, sweat, and tears of the Drifts Now Master. Since you want this city, why don't you converse with him directly? Qin Wentian spoke again. The bell chimes continued ringing. His eyes were tightly shut, and after which, his entire person seemed to have lost all signs of life. However, boundless streams of light flowed unceasingly towards his body, causing rumbling sounds to echo out. That terrifying body of his grew even taller, becoming even more terrifying. In the air, the 9 immortality bells flickered in and out of existence. It was as though each and every bell contained a terrifying stream of light that flowed towards that body. Rumble. That terrifying body continued to grow taller, from 10,000 meters to 15,000 meters. What a shocking sight. And it seemed like this wasn't the end yet. What's going on? Those experts were all stunned. A body of 10,000 meters was already considered extremely gigantic. What concept was 10,000 meters? It was like an ant standing in front of them. And now, that body of Qin Wentian's was growing even taller. An ancient aura gushed forth from that body as an ethereal voice drifted through the air. Who dares to destroy my city? This voice sounded as light as the wind and clouds, yet it directly covered a radius of 1,000 miles. Even for the people outside the Drifts Now city, they could hear it clearly. At this instant, their hearts violently pounded. Who dares to destroy my city? Who was the lord of this city? It was none other than the legendary Drifts Now Master. As the bell chimes rang out, snowflakes drifted down from the sky. All of a sudden, the sun vanished. Clouds and mist churned as the coldness permeated the air. Snowflakes descended from the heavens, appearing so suddenly. A drawn-out sigh drifted through the air. That towering body stretched out his hands, catching the falling snowflakes. How many years has it been? An ethereal voice drifted over. That towering body inclined his head as his eyes abruptly opened. That pair of eyes were so clear, and his countenance seemed to have changed. It was no longer the countenance of Qin Wentian but was replaced by another handsome countenance. On that handsome countenance, there was sorrow, desolation, and longing. It's really the Drifts Now Master. The hearts of everyone shuddered. Qin Wentian was actually able to summon the Drifts Now Master. In that case, where was Qin Wentian right now? Those attackers initially prepared to kill Qin Wentian. But at this moment, they all halted, staring dumbfoundedly at the towering figure before them. It was as though he didn't have the heart to fight, he was still in a state of longing. Every single snowflake, are they your tears? Pei Yu mumbled. Staring at the silhouette of the Drifts Now Master, her eyes turned a little dazed. Her silhouette slowly walked towards the silhouette of the Drifts Now Master, entering the ancient city. That legendary character had really appeared, right before her eyes. The Drifts Now Master turned his gaze over, staring at Pei Yu only to see Pei Yu continuing, every time the bell chimes, it's the time I miss you. Is all of this real? Chapter 798. The eyes of the Drifts Now Master flickered with a look of deep reminiscence. He stretched out his left hand as his arm extended outwards. Pei Yu slowly walked towards the palm of the Drifts Now Master. To think that after so many years, there would still be people who remember me. The Drifts Now Master retracted his hand. To him, the distance of 1,000 miles was just a matter of stretching out his hand. Pei Yu stood on the palm of the Drifts Now Master, staring at his handsome countenance. Tears involuntarily flowed from the corners of her eyes. Of course I remember. I knew that the legend would be true. You truly didn't lie to me. Pei Yu had been moved by the story of the Drifts Now Master and Immortal Jade for many days and nights. She had always imagined what sort of character the Drifts Now Master was, and today, she actually saw him in person. He was just as she had imagined, handsome, yet filled with an innate sorrow. Boundless longing could be seen in the center of his brows. This was just like a dream, yet it felt so real. Thank you. The Drifts Now Master stared at Pei Yu as he sighed heavily. He didn't know how many years had passed, but Pei Yu let him know that in this world, there were still people who knew of his existence. And from Pei Yu's eyes, he could see a kind of emotion that came from the depths of her heart. Rumble. A muffled sound rang out, the Drifts Now Master stepped out. His gaze swept over the silhouettes in the surroundings as a supreme might flickered in his eyes. That gentle countenance of his abruptly turned extremely sharp, exuding a terrifying coldness that caused the experts from the various major powers to feel a sense of suffocation. You guys want to destroy my city? The Drifts Now Master spat out. His voice instantly rang out a distance of millions of miles as a powerful pressure caused this entire space to be filled with a terrifying pressure. The gigantic palm of the Drifts Now Master stretched out, grabbing towards the experts of the Jiang clan who were riding on the war chariots. The countenances of those experts turned pale as they drove their war chariots in a frenzy to flee. However, the gigantic palm blotted out the sun, there was no way for them to escape. With a single grab, they were directly trapped in the palm of the Drifts Now Master. When the palm of the Drifts Now Master opened his palm, golden fragments flowed out as the silhouettes of those experts vanished without a trace. The leader of the Jiang clan, Jiang Yi, trembled violently. Those war chariots were all created by the blood and sweat of the Jiang clan. This time around, they were sent here to suppress Qin Wentian for the sake of seizing the weaponized city. However, in just an instant, all their efforts were wasted. Just a single grab from the Drifts Now Master was enough to shatter them into pieces. This scene was simply too tragic. Reverend True Dragon no longer had any arrogance on his face. In the Cloud Prefecture, there were many legends circulating around. The legend of the Drifts Now Master was merely one of them. As time passed, other than the Drifts Now city of the Jiangling country, the people of the other regions didn't pay much attention to him. However, this legendary character truly existed and appeared right before his eyes. He was so powerful that it was unfathomable. No wonder he was able to leave behind a legend that circulated through the ages of time. The Seven Sword Sect, Blood Flame Clan, Myriad Sage Academy and the other major powers all shuddered like cicadas in winter. That 10,000-meter tall figure of the Drifts Now Master, with a single stretch of his palm, he could extend it so far that it could blot out the sky. Such terrifying strength was something they had no way to contend against. It wasn't something that could be done with numbers alone. Before absolute strength, it was useless no matter how many experts there were. Can you tell me what happened? The Drifts Now Master lowered his head, staring at Pei Yu in his palm as he asked. Pei Yu nodded heavily as she started her narration, starting from when Qin Wentian communicated with the 9 immortality bells. And just as Pei Yu was speaking, the experts behind her silently retreated, as though they wanted to leave this place. However, the Drifts Now Master calmly stated, no one is allowed to leave. This voice seemed to contain a formless pressure. And as expected, no one dared to act recklessly. All of a sudden, an expert from the Myriad Sage Academy radiated a terrifying spatial fluctuation. He actually wanted to use a spatial treasure to leave this place. With the appearance of the Drifts Now Master, he knew that he didn't have the ability to obtain the weaponized city. In fact, even his life would be in his hands. Naturally, he had to leave. Humph, the Drift's Now Master coldly snorted. Just at the instant the expert disappeared, the Drift's Now Master blasted out a punch in the air. As this punch blasted out, the space within 1,000 miles trembled violently. A muffled sound rang out as that expert who was fleeing suddenly appeared several hundred miles away. He was about to vomit as his countenance turned pale. The spatial teleportation was actually forcefully interrupted. A single punch from the Drift's Now Master caused the entire space to become unstable. When one's strength reached a certain degree, one could directly destroy the spatial teleportation. Such might cause the spectators in the surroundings to be shocked. Those who had the same thoughts instantly dispelled that thought as their countenances turned incredibly unsightly. I've said it before, no one is allowed to leave. The Drift's Now Master's arm expanded explosively. His gigantic palm shone with a terrifying treasure light as it blasted towards the fleeing expert from the Myriad Sage Academy. As this palm landed, that expert only felt despair. His entire body trembled violently, there was no way for him to escape. As for using brute force to resist, that was simply akin to smashing a rock with an egg. The palm imprint smashed over, and with a dull sound, that expert's body was directly shattered into pieces. A powerful character with a 7th-level immortal foundation was destroyed just like that, his body and soul disintegrated. After killing this expert, the Drift's Now Master retracted his palm as though nothing had happened. He continued to quietly listen to Pei Yu's narration. Time flowed by bit by bit. To those around the Drift's Now Master, time seemed to pass extremely slowly. It was as though every second was torture, causing them to be in extreme agony. Why would the Drift's Now Master appear here? Where did Qin Wentian go to? After a long time, Pei Yu finally finished speaking. The eyes of the Drift's Now Master flickered with a faint smile as he spoke, connecting immortality through forging a weapon, ascending to immortality with a single step. I initially thought that it would be extremely difficult to achieve my requirements, but who would have thought that today, there would be someone who could easily accomplish it. Forging a divine weapon, using the immortal execution platform, fighting against so many experts. This Qin Wentian you speak of, can also be considered half a disciple of mine. If he can achieve glory, it wouldn't be a waste for me, the Drift's Now Master, to roam this world. But, where did he go? Pei Yu glanced at the surroundings, she didn't see the silhouette of Qin Wentian. According to what you said, he should know that he wouldn't be able to contend against these people. Hence, he communicated with the 9 immortality bells, drawing my soul as well as the power of the Drift's Now city, allowing me to temporarily control this illusory body. If I leave, he would appear. The Drift's Now Master replied. That calm voice of his caused the hearts of Pei Yu and the others to tremble. Qin Wentian actually took such a huge risk to summon the Drift's Now Master. If the Drift's Now Master had evil intentions, wouldn't it mean that he wouldn't be able to return? In that case, would you still disappear? Pei Yu stared at the silhouette before her as pain flickered in her eyes. Her heart was suddenly filled with contradictions. She didn't wish for the Drift's Now Master to disappear, but she also didn't wish for Qin Wentian to be unable to return. Naturally, he passed on his legacy to me, allowing me to roam the world once more. I'm already very grateful, how can I possess his body? After he comes out, please thank him on my behalf. Tell him to work hard in his cultivation and not let me down. But Pei Yu's countenance was filled with pain. Tears actually flowed down from her eyes again. She stared at the magnificence of the Drift's Now Master as boundless longing filled her heart. However, she had no way to continue speaking because it was impossible for her to say that she would give up on Qin Wentian. The Drift's Now Master stretched out his right hand, placing it before Pei Yu. A single finger of his was larger than Pei Yu's, wanting to wipe away her tears, yet he stopped himself. If Immortal Jade loved me like you, she wouldn't have embarked on this path of no return. The Drift's Now Master retracted his hand as he sighed deeply. He placed Pei Yu in the air and turned, staring at the experts gathered here. His eyes flashed with coldness as he spoke. I used my life force to refine this city. Destroying it is equivalent to destroying me. Unforgivable. As the sound of his voice faded, the Drift's Now Master blasted out with both palms. The experts here all trembled violently as they fled in different directions. Soon. Jiang Yi's countenance turned pale. He had long informed the Jiang clan leader and they were already rushing over. But at this moment, the Drift's Now Master actually wanted to kill them. An incomparably terrifying palm imprint blasted over. Jiang Yi roared in rage, "Stay your hand." However, how could the Drift's Now Master care about him? The palm imprint slammed down, directly killing Jiang Yi on the spot, showing no mercy at all. Reverend True Dragon also sped away, his stature reaching a height of 1,000 meters. However, the palm imprint of the Drift's Now Master explosively expanded once again, manifesting numerous palm imprints that slammed into the air. Reverend True Dragon's countenance turned black as he let out a roar of despair. He was an illustrious hero, cultivating for tens of thousands of years to reach his current level. But now, he would be buried here. Bang! A powerful palm imprint smashed downwards, instantly killing Reverend True Dragon. The Drift's Now Master didn't stop there, his palms continued blasting towards the other experts. No matter where they fled to, the palm imprints of the Drift's Now Master would always be able to catch up to them. As the sounds of explosions rang out, those unexcelled characters of the Cloud Prefecture were all killed on the spot. The scene of the battle was so tragic that it could shock the world. In the blink of an eye, only the Drift's Now Master and Pei Yu remained in the ancient Drift's Now city. Snowflakes fell unceasingly, bringing with them a sense of desolation, as well as a hint of killing intent. The spectators outside the ancient city stared at the gigantic body of the Drift's Now Master as they silently sighed in their hearts. Such a character was actually willing to die for the sake of a beauty, using his life to refine a city. He would rather die than betray his beauty. What spirit was this? If it wasn't for the Drift's Now Master's supreme talent, ordinary characters wouldn't have such spirit. In his heart, he wanted the world to be famous, he wanted to become a supreme expert. This point could be seen from his words earlier. If Qin Wentian shone brilliantly, he wouldn't let him, the Drift's Now Master, roam the world. But even so, he still severed all thoughts of survival and chose to be buried in this city. Who would be willing to destroy this city? My city shall be inherited by Qin Wentian. Whoever dares to covet it, as long as the soul of my Drift's Now Master isn't destroyed, I will never spare him. A voice thundered out for millions of miles, shaking the entire Drift's Now city. Chapter 799. As the sound of the Drift's Now Master's voice faded, the crowd was still immersed in his magnificence. But all of a sudden, the space trembled as the heavens and earth changed color. It was as though an apocalyptic might enveloped the area. From the void, an incomparably terrifying long spear appeared, penetrating through space. This long spear shone with divine light and was thousands of meters long, containing boundless might. It directly pierced towards the Drift's Now Master, akin to a bolt of lightning. Who? The hearts of the crowd trembled. There was actually an expert who dared to act against the Drift's Now Master. The Drift's Now Master inclined his head and blasted out with his palm. A fearsome gigantic palm imprint circulated with a fearsome divine glow, slamming into the long spear, causing it to break apart inch by inch. Finally, it was completely destroyed. Your city will never belong to you. Qin Wentian, I will definitely kill him. A voice thundered through the skies, as though it was challenging the Drift's Now Master. As the sound of this voice faded, a few silhouettes appeared outside the Drift's Now city. The person in the lead radiated a resplendent light that illuminated the heavens. The immortal light radiating from him was so blinding that it caused people to feel an impulse to prostrate themselves on the ground. Immortal King. The Drifts Now Master murmured. This expert was actually an Immortal King character, possessing shocking strength. It's the Immortal King of the Jiang clan, Jiang Zhuqing. Someone recognized this person as shock filled their hearts. An Immortal King from the Jiang clan has arrived. Naturally, this was also within reason. Jiang Yi was the son of Jiang Zhuqing, he would definitely inform Jiang Zhuqing when he encountered danger. Hence, Jiang Zhuqing personally came here. Given his cultivation base at the Immortal King realm, traversing across vast distances to arrive at the Drifts Now city from the Jiang clan, it only took him a single battle. Boom! The Drifts Now master stepped out as a towering light radiated from him. Rumbling sounds echoed unceasingly as his 10,000-meter body grew even taller. He stretched out his hand, stretching out for a radius of 1,000 miles, enveloping the entire space. With a muffled sound, the people outside the Drifts Now city only felt a supreme pressure boring down on them. They actually couldn't move at all. It was as though as long as the Drifts Now master willed it, he would be able to kill them on the spot. This gigantic palm naturally shot towards Jiang Zhuqing. Jiang Zhuqing's countenance drastically changed. What a powerful law energy. Even for him, he couldn't help but admit that he was inferior. The Drifts Now master must have been a supreme expert before he died. Boom! Boundless resplendent light erupted forth from him, incomparably sharp. Jiang Zhuqing's silhouette flickered as countless long spears pierced through the air. At the same time, he himself directly retreated into the air. When the palm imprint of the Drifts Now master caused the entire space to tremble, Jiang Zhuqing's silhouette was already high up in the air. Drifts Now master, although you are strong, you can't do anything to a soul body. If you leave this city, it would be a path of death. You have to return your life to him eventually, and at that time, that would be the time when both of you die. Jiang Zhuqing coldly spoke, the killing intent in his eyes intense. He had no idea what had happened before, as Jiang Yi had made the decision himself. It was only when Jiang Yi was in danger that he asked about the matter and learned of everything. The Jiang clan had actually suffered such heavy losses because of an ant-like member of the junior generation. You are truly confident. The Drifts Now master stared at the air as he spoke with cold arrogance. You can stay in this city forever, but I can stay here forever, Jiang Zhuqing said coldly. If you dare to say that again, I will make sure that you will never forget this for the rest of your life. The eyes of the Drifts Now master flashed with a powerful threat. So what if I say it one more time? I will take Qin Wentian's life no matter what. If I can't obtain this city, I will destroy it. Jiang Zhuqing stood in the air as he arrogantly spoke. The Drifts Now master didn't reply. He inclined his head and stared at the sky. The heavens and earth rumbled as the earth trembled. He stared at Pei Yu and asked, "Do you know where the clan of this man is located?" "I've seen the map of the major powers of the Cloud Prefecture before." Pei Yu nodded. "Don't resist my will. Transmit everything you know to the forefront of your consciousness." The Drifts Now master spoke. After that, a strand of immortal sense directly entered her mind. Pei Yu closed her eyes and transmitted everything she knew to the Drifts Now master. An instant later, the Drifts Now master obtained the information he wanted. He cast a deep glance at Pei Yu as he spoke in a low voice, "After Qin Wentian wakes up, tell him that this city can be moved." As the sound of his voice faded, the entire Drifts Now city started trembling. Terrifying rumbling sounds rang out, as though the heavens and earth were collapsing. The entire city that stretched for thousands of miles actually uprooted itself from the ground and floated up into the air. The ancient Drifts Now city could be moved. Ba-boom. The hearts of the spectators from afar pounded madly. They stared in shock at the Drifts Now city as it slowly rose up from the ground. Below the city, a pair of wings that blotted out the sun could be seen. It was like an incomparably gigantic bird flapping its wings that could blot out the sky. This bird and its wings were naturally formed from runic inscriptions. Everyone stared in shock at the rising city as the shock in their hearts grew to the extreme. This city created by the Drift's now master and immortal Jade wasn't just a stationary city. This city was created by me using my own life force. Whoever dares to destroy it, I will definitely make him regret it. Let me say it one more time, this city is already in the hands of Qin Wentian. No one is allowed to covet it. The Drift's now master's voice shook the heavens. Boundless runic light flashed, and after which, a beam of light shot out, penetrating through the void in a radius of 10 million miles. At the end of the beam of light, the spectators could see a vast land, as well as many other cities. They turned their heads and stared in shock at the scene before them, feeling their hearts trembling. What is he doing? The hearts of the spectators trembled. The beam of light continued to project itself into the air, frenziedly searching. Finally, it landed in the middle of a vast ancient castle. This ancient castle exuded an incomparably majestic aura, and there were countless experts within. However, at this moment, many experts turned their heads and stared in the direction of the beam of light as their bodies trembled violently. The immortal king of the Jiang clan, Jiang Zhuqing, was also trembling. He stared fixedly at the Drift's now master as he asked, "What are you doing?" "I've said it before, I will make you regret it." The eyes of the Drift's now master flickered with an incomparably tyrannical sharpness. After which, he lifted his palm and blasted out towards the beam of light. In an instant, his palm seemed to have penetrated through the beam of light, directly slamming into the other end of the space. In the airspace above the fortress, a gigantic palm imprint appeared, smashing downwards, instantly reducing an area of 1,000 meters into dust. No! Jiang Zhuqing's eyes turned red, his countenance as pale as paper. Earlier, he who was unexcelled in the world and threatened to kill Qin Wentian and destroy the Drift's now city was actually trembling in fear. On the other end of the beam of light was his Jiang clan. The Drift's now master directly projected his power into the base of the Jiang clan, forcefully destroying it. "I didn't want to commit the sin of killing, yet you actually wanted to threaten me. Even if I'm already dead, I won't allow juniors like you to be so impudent." The voice of the Drift's now master was as cold as ice. His palms slammed down once more, and the Jiang clan appeared as though it was the end of the world. The destruction of the Jiang clan continued, and in just a few breaths of time, the entire Jiang clan was reduced to dust. This scene caused the spectators to feel as though they were in a dream, as though everything was surreal. The hegemonic power of the Cloud Prefecture, the Jiang clan that had been so powerful for so long, had it fallen from its divine pedestal just like that? In fact, was it completely annihilated? This is the true ancient Drift's now city. The city that the Drift's now master and immortal Jade used their lives to refine. Everyone stared at the resplendent ancient city floating in the air. This city far surpassed their imaginations. Qin Wentian had no way to unleash its true might. At this moment, the magnificence the Drift's now master was radiating truly caused everyone to feel the aura of a supreme character. The immortal king of the Jiang clan, Jiang Zhuqing, threatened the Drift's now master. "Even if I'm from the ancient era, I'll still make you regret your entire life." This short moment was enough for Jiang Zhuqing to remember for the rest of his life. Arg! Jiang Zhuqing let out a low-sounding roar. Even for an immortal king, when he saw his clan being destroyed like this, he felt so much pain that he wished he was dead. Staring at the crazed expression on Jiang Zhuqing's face, the spectators didn't know what to feel. That was the Jiang clan. Back then, wasn't the weaponsmithing madman Jiang Chao also a supreme character? He founded this clan, and although it declined, it was still considered a peak power of the Cloud Prefecture. But now, in the span of a single night, a single mistake had turned everything into history. The impact of this was extremely intense to the spectators. I'm going to destroy your soul and destroy your city. Jiang Zhuqing let out a low-sounding roar. After which, a terrifying spear of darkness appeared in front of him. At the tip of the spear, a terrifying black vortex could be seen, as though it contained a terrifying power of annihilation, capable of penetrating through everything. Boom! Jiang Zhuqing clearly knew that his strength was inferior to the Drift's Now Master. But at this moment, he still stepped out and attacked. In just an instant, he arrived before the Drift's Now Master as a 10 million meter long spear of darkness pierced towards the head of the Drift's Now Master. The eyes of the Drift's Now Master flashed with coldness. His body was incomparably gigantic, and a divine glow erupted from his palms as he blasted out once more. The entire sky turned golden, with him as the center, a dazzling golden light circulated in the air. His palms that contained law energy also turned golden, and terrifying runic inscriptions flowed within them, triggering a fearsome law energy. The spear of darkness collided with the palm imprint. The terrifying vortex of darkness seemed to be able to penetrate through everything, unceasingly destroying the palm imprint. But when the spear slammed into the palm of the Drift's Now Master, Jiang Zhuqing could clearly sense a supreme might within it. Break! The Drift's Now Master coldly snorted. Cracking sounds rang out as the 10 million meter long spear shattered into pieces. The palm of the Drift's Now Master continued blasting forth. Jiang Zhuqing's countenance turned ashen, his body shone with a boundless sharpness as he continued penetrating through. Another heaven-shaking collision rang out. The palm of the Drift's Now Master violently trembled, but Jiang Zhuqing's body was flung through the air. However, an instant later, he returned, his aura fluctuating as he stood in the air, staring at the Drift's Now Master. If I don't die, I will definitely destroy your soul, destroy your city, and kill your successor. Jiang Zhuqing was completely enraged. Chapter 800. Pig-headed. The voice of the Drift's Now Master was ice-cold. The gigantic Drift's Now city actually began to move. Below the ancient city, a gigantic bird with a city on its back flapped its wings, causing the entire city to move forward. The Drift's Now Master's countenance was ice-cold. His palms grabbed out in the air, causing the entire sky to turn golden. Boundless golden light gushed forth as many golden diagrams appeared in the air. Jiang Zhuqing stepped out when he saw this scene, wanting to retreat. He knew that his strength was inferior to the Drift's Now Master and he wouldn't clash head-on with him. However, he would wait. Unless the Drift's Now Master could exist forever and Qin Wentian would never appear again. However, at this moment, a terrifying sense of danger suddenly bore down on him. Jiang Zhuqing's countenance stiffened and he abruptly turned. A spear of darkness appeared in his hands as he stabbed out frenziedly. A supreme saber light slashed down from the sky, akin to a bolt of lightning. A beam of white light directly cleaved the void into two. This saber strike could only be described as world-shaking. Bang! The spear collided with the saber light and was actually split apart in the middle. Jiang Zhuqing's body explosively retreated. A terrifying rumbling sound came from behind him. Jiang Zhuqing's face turned pale. This sudden saber attack instantly caused him to fall into a state of despair. Rumble. An incomparably gigantic palm imprint slammed down, bringing with it a towering might that directly tore apart the life force in his body. Jiang Zhuqing's body trembled violently, he stared ahead. He didn't look at the Drift's Now Master but at the black-robed figure who just appeared. We have no grudges, why are you trying to kill me? Jiang Zhuqing was filled with reluctance. He was an immortal king of a generation but because of a sudden attack from the Saber Lord of Death, he was going to die here. I've never had a reason to kill. If I want to kill, I will. The black-robed figure spoke. He was none other than Mu Yan's master, the Saber Lord of Death. Mu Yan's ghostly saber had inherited the style of the Saber Lord of Death. Every time he slashed, there would be blood. There were no rules. His saber was the law. His personality was also unfathomable. Countless people below opened their mouths wide, staring at the scene in disbelief. They didn't expect there would be such a sudden attack. The Saber Lord of Death actually wanted to kill Jiang Zhuqin. That saber strike far surpassed the expectations of everyone. It also caused the death of Jiang Zhuqin, an immortal king of a generation. Was the Jiang clan going to be completely annihilated just like that? I can't accept this. Jiang Zhuqin's countenance was incomparably malevolent. Immortal light gushed forth frenziedly from him. Even though his life force had been destroyed, he still wanted to unleash an attack of death. However, the Drift's now master only sent out a palm strike. Thunderous rumbling sounds rang out as Jiang Zhuqing's body trembled violently. Jiang Zhuqing's eyes were still open. Even when his body was falling, he was still unwilling. The items on him belong to me. The Drift's now master wouldn't have any objections, right? The Saber Lord of Death asked. Take it. The Drift's now master waved his palms, and a moment later, Jiang Zhuqing's body flew towards the Saber Lord of Death. The Saber Lord didn't stand on ceremony and directly collected the spoils of war. Jiang Zhuqin was the leader of the Jiang clan, and the Jiang clan was a sacred ground for weaponsmithing in the Cloud Prefecture. How many treasures would he have on him? That saber strike of the Saber Lord was priceless. He was much more brilliant compared to those experts who coveted Qin Wentian. With a single strike, he plundered all the wealth of an immortal king. However, this saber strike required determination and courage. That saber strike was aimed at the immortal king of the Jiang clan, Jiang Zhuqin. It wasn't aimed at a mere third-level celestial phenomenon ant like Qin Wentian. However, no one would dare to imagine the rewards of this saber strike. Many thanks. The Saber Lord smiled at the Drift's now master. Nobody knew that the reason he slashed out that saber strike wasn't merely for the treasures on Jiang Zhuqin. Naturally, he wouldn't say it out loud. From afar in the air, there were many experts spectating this scene. However, none of them showed their faces, including those experts who were from the major powers the Drift's now master killed. The Jiang clan was annihilated. How would they dare to show their faces? The commotion caused by Qin Wentian was simply too terrifying. Before this, no one dared to even think about it. No matter how weak the Jiang clan was, it was still a sacred ground for weaponsmithing. Right now, they were still a supreme power with authority in the field of weaponsmithing. But now, they were annihilated just like that. The impact of this to everyone was extremely great. Leave this city here. If you hand it over to him now, he wouldn't be able to control it. Leave it far away and wait for him to come and retrieve it in the future. The Saber Lord spoke. The Drift's now master cast a deep glance at him. I have no grudge with Qin Wentian. I believe that even if I kill him, I won't be able to obtain this city. I have no ill intentions. The Saber Lord smiled. He understood the Drift's now master's intentions. No matter who covets this city, it's useless. The 9 immortality bells have already been refined by Qin Wentian. Even if we seize his memories and kill him, we won't be able to control this city. Only Qin Wentian can do this. If there's anyone else who covets this city, I will definitely not spare them. The Drift's now master turned his gaze to the horizons, his voice shaking the heavens and earth. That little fellow isn't bad, I have high hopes for him. Master can leave in peace and leave him to me to take care of. No one would dare to bully him. If you don't believe me, you can ask him for his opinion. The Saber Lord spoke as he transmitted his voice to the Drift's now master. I'm old acquaintances with your successor. Allow him to regain his consciousness and you can ask him about it. The eyes of the Drift's now master flickered when he heard this. After which, he closed his eyes as his gigantic body gradually shrunk in size. The supreme sharpness he exuded faded away as his countenance gradually changed, transforming into the countenance of Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian's eyes were tightly shut. All of a sudden, he felt a voice calling out to him. His eyes opened only to hear a voice ringing out in his mind, "Qin Wentian, this person said that he will take care of you. Do you trust him? Senior is the Drift's now master." Qin Wentian's heart trembled as he asked. "Yes." That voice rang out once more. Only now did Qin Wentian incline his head and stared at the Saber Lord of Death. A sense of familiarity appeared, he only saw the Saber Lord smiling at him. He couldn't help but to reply to the Drift's now master, "I do indeed have some connection with this person. I'm willing to trust him." This person was his senior from the Heavenly Talisman realm and was also an immortal king. Qin Wentian was willing to trust him. "Right." That voice rang out once more. That face transformed back into that of the Drift's now master. He stared at the Saber Lord of Death as he spoke, "Just like what you said, leave this city here. When he steps into the Immortal Foundation realm, he can come back to retrieve it and turn it into a mobile city for him." As the sound of his voice faded, the Drift's now master controlled the ancient Drift's now city to descend. An instant later, the ancient Drift's now city returned to its original location. Rumbling sounds rang out as the ancient Drift's now city was embedded into the ground. The land of an entire city, this is simply a treasure trove. Everyone felt some jealousy towards Qin Wentian. How terrifying was the might of the Drift's now city. Once Qin Wentian gained full control over it, it was equivalent to him controlling many immortal-ranked weapons. In addition, when Qin Wentian grew stronger, he could treat the Drift's now city as his own clan or power. The entire city would be a divine weapon that was countless times stronger compared to the protective formations of those powerful clans and sections. Even the major powers of the Cloud Prefecture would be envious of Qin Wentian. He will naturally understand this point. The Saber Lord of Death nodded. The Drift's now master stood on the ground, surveying his surroundings. Snowflakes drifted down from the sky as a look of longing flashed in his eyes. "Ultimately, it no longer belongs to me." The Drift's now master sighed, filled with boundless desolation. Pei Yu's body trembled violently. She stared at the Drift's now master, "Are you going to leave?" "MHM, it's time for me to leave." The Drift's now master nodded. "If I'm willing to use my body to host your soul, would I be able to revive you like now, never to leave again?" Pei Yu's eyes were filled with infatuation. She stared at the Drift's now master as tears could be seen in the corners of her eyes. "Silly lass." The Drift's now master sighed. Earlier when he entered Pei Yu's mind, he had already seen through her emotions. "I'm someone who has already died, there's no need for longing. The world of mortals is so beautiful, you should enjoy it well." The Drift's now master laughed. The snowflakes drifted down at an even faster speed as the Drift's now master's body gradually turned illusory. Pei Yu only felt an unbearable pain. Boom! When the bell chimed, Qin Wentian's countenance appeared there. The 9 immortality bells stood tall, the chimes of the bells accompanied the snowflakes dancing in the air. The bell chimes rang out, "Are you thinking of immortal jade again?" Pei Yu inclined her head, staring at the snowflakes in the air. This snow was so beautiful, it was his tears. At this moment, Qin Wentian was extremely weak. The boundless radiance around him dissipated as he took out a robe and wrapped it around his body. He returned to his original state, and when he saw the reluctance in Pei Yu's eyes, he could sense a faint sense of sadness. Pei Yu actually fell in love with the Drift's now master. A strange emotion appeared in Qin Wentian's heart. Pei Yu had always been fond of the story between the Drift's now master and immortal jade. She was especially affected by the deep emotions of the Drift's now master. Who would have thought that such emotions that were rooted deep in her heart would actually be stirred up by the appearance of the Drift's now master? "Why don't you leave together with me?" The Saber Lord spoke to Pei Yu. Right now, it was no longer suitable for Pei Yu to stay behind. After all, she had helped the Drift's now master before. "No, I will stay behind to accompany him." Pei Yu shook her head. She stared at Qin Wentian. The Drifts Now Master left this city for you, it has the ability to fly. He said that after you step into the Immortal Foundation realm, you can come back to retrieve this city. Qin Wentian nodded. He stared at Pei Yu. Let's leave together, it's too dangerous for you to stay behind. No need, I like this city. Pei Yu smiled. Qin Wentian stared at her expression. He knew that he wouldn't be able to convince this girl before him. Your obsession is too deep. The Saber Lord sighed. Qin Wentian, come with me. Qin Wentian stared at Pei Yu, only to see her smiling at him. He couldn't help but feel helpless, he could only nod his head to the Saber Lord. If you want to touch this city, think carefully about the consequences. The Saber Lord spoke, bringing Qin Wentian and Mu Yen away. In the air, Qin Wentian stared at the ancient city below. Within that ancient city, Pei Yu quietly sat there, staring at the drifting snowflakes in a daze. What would her fate be? Chapter 801. After the Saber Lord of Death brought Qin Wentian and Mu Yen away, several people flew out. There were experts from all directions, and all of them stepped into the ancient Drifts Now city, staring at the simple and unadorned ancient city. It was hard to imagine that when the runic light shone, the city would be able to display such shocking power. It's been so many years, yet no one has been able to solve it. Many experts sighed in their hearts. If they unraveled the mystery, they would be able to gain the recognition of the Drifts Now Master and obtain a city. Sadly, only Qin Wentian had the talent to connect immortality through forging a weapon, unraveling the mystery within the 9 immortality bells and obtaining the Drifts Now city. Pei Yu. At this moment, someone called out. Pei Yu was still quietly sitting in the city. She inclined her head and stared at the person who spoke. It was an expert from the Jiangling King Manor. But now, the Jiangling King of the Jiangling King Manor, Pei Tianyuan, had already died. Yet Pei Yu still cared about her enemy and decided to help the Drifts Now Master. Do you know your crimes? The expert from the Prefecture King's Manor coldly spoke, his voice filled with killing intent. Pei Yu inclined her head and stared at the snowflakes that filled the sky. She stretched out her hand and spoke, since I haven't left this city, I don't plan to live anymore. As the sound of her voice faded, Pei Yu quietly laid on the ground. She stared at the drifting snowflakes in the air as a smile flickered in her eyes. After which, she slowly closed her eyes, radiating a sense of tranquility and warmth, as though she had long disregarded life and death. She was immersed in her own story, and in this story, there was the Drifts Now Master as well as her. You. That expert's killing intent flickered, but someone else spoke up, forget it. Humph, that person snorted coldly. In the end, he didn't act to kill Pei Yu. In this part of the sky, snowflakes still fluttered down. The ancient city no longer had its splendor, but it had buried a powerful clan, the Jiang clan. Was the soul of the Drifts Now Master still within the 9 immortality bells? When would that young man return and take away the city that belonged to him? Would those major forces that had lost many powerful cultivators dare to take revenge on the prodigies that were taken away by the swordsman of death? Snowflakes continued to fall. All these questions seemed to be buried within the drifting snow. No one knew. Perhaps the only thing that could prove them was time. 3 months later in the Heavenly Talisman realm. Within the Heavenly Talisman Palace, Qin Wentian sat cross-legged in the air, comprehending the runic light that filled the air. It was as though he had seen through all sorts of innate techniques and techniques. He lifted his palms to attack, and every time he blasted out, a different type of energy would be unleashed. 3 months ago, during the battle in the Drifts Now city, he borrowed the power of external sources and gained the strength to slay Immortal Foundation experts. Although that wasn't his own strength, it was because he borrowed the power of the Drifts Now city. Despite that, he still benefited greatly from it, truly comprehending how immense power was able to affect the laws of the world. The him who had transformed into a giant, every attack of his was immortal energy, containing boundless might. But now, it was as though he had reverted back to being immortal. Naturally, Qin Wentian wouldn't waver because of this. He knew that cultivation required one to accumulate experience step by step. Only with a solid foundation would one's combat prowess grow stronger and stronger. Ascending to immortality in a single step was only when he was in the ancient Drifts Now city. After leaving that weaponized city, his greatest reliance was still his own strength. Let's go out for a walk. Qin Wentian stood up and walked out of the Heavenly Talisman Palace. Glancing at the terrifying statue of the Heavenly Talisman Realm Lord, Qin Wentian then thought of the Drifts Now Master as he sighed in his heart. What a pity, the Drifts Now Master's magnificence was unmatched through the generations. He wondered if there would be a chance for him to reappear in the world of mortals in the future. You are done with your cultivation. At this moment, a voice drifted over. Qin Wentian slowly walked out, and not long after, he came to a river in the Heavenly Talisman realm. The Saber Lord of Death stood there, slashing out with his saber repeatedly, slashing at the river again and again. He didn't imbue any energy into his saber, it was as though he was purely comprehending his saber techniques. Behind every expert, there would always be unimaginable sacrifices. Who would have thought that the powerful immortal king, the Saber Lord of Death, would use such a shallow method to comprehend his saber techniques? Naturally, everyone's cultivation was different. The Saber Lord of Death definitely had his own reasons for doing this. I've stabilized my cultivation base. I can faintly sense that I've already stepped into the peak of the third level of celestial phenomenon. There's no longer any meaning for me to continue staying here. Qin Wentian spoke. Back then, when Senior Bai Wuya brought you here, other than the Heavenly Talisman Palace, did he bring you out for a stroll? The Saber Lord asked. No, after I exited the Heavenly Talisman Palace, I directly left the Heavenly Talisman realm. Qin Wentian replied. Okay then. This time around, I'll bring you to a place. It's a combat realm within the Heavenly Talisman realm. You can temper your combat prowess there. The Saber Lord spoke. After that, he stopped his actions and brought Qin Wentian along as his silhouette flickered. Not long after, the Saber Lord brought Qin Wentian to a towering palace. This palace seemed to connect to the heavens, incomparably vast. It was unknown how vast the interior was. Other than them, there were other people in the combat realm as well. These two women were able to appear in the Heavenly Talisman realm. Clearly, they were members of the Heavenly Talisman realm. One of the two women was a beautiful married woman with a valiant demeanor. Her countenance was as cold as frost, while the other woman was extremely young, around 20 years of age. She had a pair of phoenix eyes and gave off a sense of vigor and vitality. She was clad in tight-fitting clothing that accentuated her voluptuous curves, making her look extremely alluring. Is this the person you recommended? That beautiful married woman stared at the Saber Lord as she asked. Only immortal kings had the qualifications to recommend people. This beautiful married woman was clearly an immortal king as well. As for that young woman, she was the one who recommended her into the Heavenly Talisman realm. The number one requirement was a violet gold astral soul. Nope. The Saber Lord shook his head. I've never recommended anyone before. It's just that this young man is extraordinary. If I met him earlier, I would have recommended him as well. Is that so? You regard him so highly? The beautiful married woman frowned as sharpness flickered in her eyes. Outstanding people are naturally valued. The Saber Lord laughed. I wonder what the junior apprentice sister recommended by Fairy Sue is like. My judgment is naturally better than yours. This beautiful married woman seemed to be on bad terms with the Saber Lord. Her tone was filled with unfriendliness. She stared at Qin Wentian and spoke, there are many elites in the Heavenly Talisman realm. This young man just so coincidentally met Zi Qingxian when he came to the Heavenly Talisman realm. It can be considered that his luck isn't bad, we can compare ourselves to each other. The eyes of the Saber Lord of Death flickered as a gleam of sharpness flickered within. He then spoke to Qin Wentian, little brat, you are being looked down upon. This Fairy Su is your senior apprentice sister, but she seems to think that you are inferior to the junior apprentice sister she introduced into the sect. Stop trying to sow discord. Fairy Su glanced at the Saber Lord before turning to Qin Wentian. Since you have entered the sect, you will be my junior apprentice brother in the future. It's just that Zi Qingshuan's talent is extraordinary, her bloodline is unique and she has a unique physique. You entering the heavenly talisman realm together with her can be considered a fortunate thing. There's no need to intentionally compare yourself to others. Did you hear that? Your senior apprentice sister Su said that looking at the talent of this junior apprentice sister Zi Qingxian would be beneficial to you. You have to learn from her well. The Saber Lord spoke in a frivolous manner. He then turned to Fairy Su and continued, oh yeah, when did she enter the sect? Between the two of them, I also want to see who entered the sect earlier. Zi Qingxian has been in the sect for 5 months. Fairy Su replied. In that case, she would have to address Qin Wentian as senior apprentice brother. Haha. The Saber Lord laughed. Zi Qingshuan's phoenix eyes glanced at Qin Wentian before shifting her gaze away, not daring to look at him any longer. Okay, let them enter. The Saber Lord spoke. Wait a minute, there's another junior apprentice brother coming over. The beautiful middle-aged woman spoke, her words causing the expression of the Saber Lord to stiffen. Is he also at the celestial phenomenon realm? Strange, this is extremely rare. For celestial phenomenon ascendants, if they don't have extraordinary talent, they wouldn't be recommended into the sect. The Saber Lord spoke in a low voice, as though he was speaking to Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian naturally understood this point. Firstly, celestial phenomenon ascendants had to have a violet gold astral soul. This was already 1 in a trillion characters. They have arrived. At this moment, a gust of wind gusted by as 2 silhouettes landed. One of them was the Immortal King who was recommended, exuding a transcendent aura. As for the other, he looked extremely young, only around 20 years of age. His skin was fair and clean, and he looked extremely delicate and pretty. Senior apprentice sister Su, senior apprentice sister Qingxian, this young man called out. He then turned to the Saber Lord and Qin Wentian, greetings to the two of you. Saber Lord, this is Jun Mengchen, junior apprentice brother Jun, that Immortal King introduced. This is Qin Wentian, junior apprentice brother Qin. The Saber Lord also introduced. Qin Wentian nodded to everyone. This was the first time he saw so many people from the same sect as him. The heavenly talisman realm was extremely strict when it came to recruiting disciples. But after all, it had existed for so many years. The disciples of the heavenly talisman realm were scattered all over the immortal realms. Most probably, if they were to gather together, they would be a terrifying force. Alright, you guys can enter. That transcendent expert spoke. After that, the 3 of them nodded and walked towards the battle gate. When the 3 of them entered, the Saber Lord and Fairy Su stared at the transcendent expert as they asked, Senior brother, you actually recommended a disciple as well? Who is this person? I met him when I was roaming around a particle world. This person is extraordinary and has a supreme talent. This was why I was moved by his talent and decided to bring him to the heavenly talisman realm. That transcendent expert replied. A person from a particle world can actually cause Senior to be so moved. Fairy Su was somewhat bewildered. He's the king of a particle world. That transcendent expert replied as a smile appeared on his face. It was like he was thinking back to the scene when he met Jun Mengchen. Even though his cultivation base was heaven-defying, he was still shocked by that scene. The entire world prostrated before him. If it wasn't for them personally witnessing it, who would be able to imagine that this delicate-looking young man had such a domineering aura? What about you guys? That senior brother asked. Zi Qingxian is an orphan. However, her parents must have an extraordinary background with a powerful bloodline. She was born with a transcendent physique and combat prowess. Fairy Su replied. After that, the two of them turned to the Saber Lord of Death. The Saber Lord waved his hands and smiled. When I met him, he was in a city in the Cloud Prefecture of the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures. He managed to ignite the will of the ancients and connected with immortality through smithing, borrowing the power of runes to create an immortal-ranked weapon. After that, he obtained a weaponized city and stood there proudly. With a cultivation base at the third level of celestial phenomenon, he fought against many experts and even killed many Immortal Foundation experts. No wonder. Just his aura alone is extraordinary. No wonder you recommended him into the sect. That transcendent expert spoke. I wasn't the one who recommended him. The one who recommended him was Bai Wuya. The Saber Lord smiled, his words causing the eyes of the two of them to flash with sharpness. Chapter 802. Qin Wentian, Jun Mengchen and Zi Qingxian entered the battle world together. As they walked through the passageway leading to the battle world, Jun Mengchen asked, Senior brother Qin and senior sister Qingxian, where did you come from? My hometown is in a particle world. Qin Wentian felt that Jun Mengchen was extremely amiable. Jun Mengchen seemed to be filled with energy and vitality. I wandered the 4 seas, I have no home. Zi Qingxian spoke. I'm the same as senior brother Qin, I also came from a particle world. Senior brother met me when he was roaming the world and brought me here. Jun Mengchen was extremely straightforward. They walked through the passageway and arrived at the vast battle world. Ahead of them, beams of light flashed and over there were many floating diagrams. These diagrams were all alive, and each of them shone with a bright light. Within them, there was a demonic beast. Which battle immortal do you all choose to challenge? A voice rang out, echoing through this vast space. The same voice rang out from each diagram. Qin Wentian swept his gaze over the diagrams before his eyes landed on one of them. In this diagram, there was an incomparably gigantic demonic beast that was over 100 meters tall. Its entire body was forged from gold and had a fearsome defense. The head of the demonic beast resembled that of an ox, and it breathed heavily. Its gigantic arms resembled the arms of a human, and it seemed to possess an incomparably terrifying strength. I choose you. Qin Wentian stared ahead as he spoke. A moment later, a beam of immortal light shot out from the diagram, landing on Qin Wentian. In an instant, Qin Wentian was brought to an independent space, entering the diagram. Before him, there was a gigantic beast that had the head of a bull and the body of a human. This beast was over 100 meters tall and was panting heavily. It had a terrifying body that seemed to be forged from gold. You're dead. This monster spoke. After that, he turned and sat on a golden throne. In just an instant, he seemed to be extremely far away from Qin Wentian. With a wave of his hand, a monster that was extremely similar to him appeared before Qin Wentian. However, its aura was the same as Qin Wentian, at the third level of celestial phenomenon. Qin Wentian glanced to his left and right. He discovered that both Zi Qingxian and Jun Mengchen had chosen their own immortal war beasts. Zi Qingxian chose a golden-winged demonic beast with terrifying eyes and a pair of golden wings. Jun Mengchen chose a demonic beast with a terrifying king's Dao aura. It sat there as if it was the king of this world. It was shaped like a lion or a tiger, and its body was several dozen zhang in size. The 3 of them chose their own immortal warriors and appeared in different spaces. Where are you looking at? A cold voice rang out, only to see the ox demon walking towards Qin Wentian. Every step it took caused the earth to tremble and the mountains to tremble. Third level celestial phenomenon. Not enough. Qin Wentian emotionlessly spoke. His body dashed out, dashing towards that ox demon. Lifting his palms, runic light circulated around his palms, containing a terrifying might that could destroy everything. The ox demon's gigantic palms also blasted out explosively as a terrifying roar rang out from its mouth. A resplendent golden light blasted towards Qin Wentian. Boom! Both attacks collided. Qin Wentian only felt his palms slamming into an impenetrable wall. The ox demon's palms were all golden in color, gleaming with a resplendent light. So powerful! Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. This level of power was simply too terrifying. He knew that even if he relied on his own strength alone, he would already be able to easily defeat opponents at the same level. However, when he blasted his palms against the ox demon, his palms actually turned numb. From this, one could see how strong the ox demon was. "Is that all you've got?" The ox demon let out a low roar. Qin Wentian's palms shimmered with a terrifying light as he blasted out once more. The ox demon's gigantic fist blasted out once more, as though it could crush the tiny Qin Wentian into pieces. Explode! Qin Wentian roared in rage. When their attacks collided once more, a terrifying surge of energy directly gushed into the ox demon's body, tearing it apart. The ox demon war immortal waved his hands once more. Instantly, 8 powerful ox demons appeared, wielding golden long spears in their hands as they walked towards Qin Wentian. Are there no limits to the battle realm? Qin Wentian silently mused. If these 8 powerful ox demons appeared in the outside world, they would be able to kill opponents at the same level as them with a single strike. However, this bit of strength was far from sufficient to deal with him. Let's change to something stronger. Qin Wentian spoke, causing the eyes of the 8 ox demons to gleam with an incomparably sharp golden light. They dashed out at the same time, stomping on the ground as the golden long spears in their hands shot out at the same time, aiming straight for Qin Wentian, wanting to kill Qin Wentian with a single strike. The 8 golden bodies of the ox demons stabbed out with their spears at the same time. Qin Wentian stood before them, giving off an incomparably tiny feeling. Boom! A terrifying light radiated from Qin Wentian's palms, containing a terrifying suppressive force. He took a step forward as his body directly soared into the sky, slamming out with his palm. A gigantic palm imprint flashing with light collided with the 8 spears, actually shattering the golden long spears. Qin Wentian took a step forward and slammed out with his palm imprint once more, suppressing everything. Rumbling sounds rang out unceasingly as the bodies of the 8 ox demons were all destroyed. Not too bad. The battle immortal sitting on the throne emotionlessly spoke. With a wave of his hand, a gigantic ox demon with a cultivation base at the 4th level of celestial phenomenon appeared. It wielded a long spear in its hands, exuding an even stronger pressure. Qin Wentian stood there as a resplendent light circulated around his body. It was like a fearsome fiend god armor was covering him. Seems like the combat in the battle realm started from your cultivation base. You would be able to continuously adjust yourself and grow stronger and stronger. Since this was the case, he might as well display an even greater strength to show this ox demon. Cracking sounds rang out as Qin Wentian's body also expanded in size. He was now 100 meters in size, the same size as the ox demons. Resplendent light circulated around his body, making him look even more extraordinary. His constellation flashed in the air as sword killing appeared. Numerous terrifying swords manifested in the air, exuding boundless sword might. Kill! As the sound of Qin Wentian's voice faded, the numerous sharp swords erupted forth at the same time, aiming for the gigantic ox demon. The long spear in the ox demon's hands stabbed out as a resplendent golden diagram appeared in the air, blocking the sword might. Qin Wentian soared through the air as the sword might he exuded grew even more terrifying. He lifted his palms and punched out, containing a myriad of sword might, capable of suppressing everything. The eyes of the ox demon flickered with golden lightning. His long spear rapidly pierced out, blasting out countless times in an instant. Numerous beams of golden light flashed, blocking all the incoming attacks. Powerful. Qin Wentian silently mused. After which, the sword might in the air frenziedly rained down, unceasingly suppressing the ox demon. Rumbling sounds rang out unceasingly, and finally, the golden diagram was destroyed. The sharp swords pierced through the ox demon's body, killing the ox demon who was at the 4th level of celestial phenomenon. However, the strength of this ox demon already caused Qin Wentian to feel a trace of pressure. Qin Wentian hadn't even recovered from his shock when he heard the rumbling sounds ringing out unceasingly. 8 powerful ox demons at the 4th level of celestial phenomenon stepped out at the same time, exuding a terrifying might. His constellation flashed once more as the Suppression Annihilation constellation appeared. Numerous terrifying silhouettes appeared in the air, each of them was the same size as Qin Wentian, with a height of 100 meters. Die for me. Qin Wentian coldly snorted. Those terrifying silhouettes descended, wanting to annihilate everything in their path. Every single terrifying body that descended seemed to possess boundless might of annihilation. They smashed onto those bodies and directly crushed the ox demons into pieces on the spot. They were incomparably powerful. The battle immortal on the throne waved his hands again when he saw this scene. 16 ox demons appeared, rushing towards Qin Wentian. Yet all of them were suppressed without exception. Boom! A ox demon at the 5th level of celestial phenomenon with a height of several hundred meters soared through the air, as though it wanted to challenge Qin Wentian's limits. This ox demon that was several hundred meters in height seemed to be forged from gold. Every step it took caused the heavens and earth to crumble apart. Its body shone with a blinding golden light, its eyes gleaming with an oppressive light. This ox demon definitely has the strength to suppress ordinary 5th level ascendants. Qin Wentian silently mused when he sensed the ox demon's might. He controlled the power of his constellation, wanting to crush the ox demon. However, he only saw the ox demon's eyes staring up at the sky as a fearsome long spear pierced through the air, colliding with the descending silhouettes, causing the spear to shatter apart. Is the true challenge about to begin? Qin Wentian mused in his heart. Stepping out, his stature grew taller once again, as though he wanted to catch up to his opponent. Very swiftly, he grew to a height of 300 meters. A pair of gigantic golden rock wings appeared behind his back as he rushed out, borrowing the might of his constellation to blast out a heaven-suppressing fist light, wanting to destroy everything. Not enough. The ox demon howled in rage. His golden spear pierced through the skies, ignoring the distance between them, wanting to penetrate Qin Wentian's body. Is that so? Qin Wentian coldly snorted. The heaven-suppressing fist he blasted out manifested a fearsome ancient demon that gushed forth, suppressing everything in its path. When the two attacks collided, a terrifying tempest manifested. The fiend god heavenly suppression art can suppress immortals and devils. I won't be able to kill you. Qin Wentian's heart was filled with arrogance. The fiend god light circulating around him was also extremely terrifying. He blasted out another fiend god heavenly suppression fist, causing the heavens and earth to tremble. Numerous true immortals and devils manifested from his fists, causing chaos in the heavens and earth. The long spear in the ox demon's hand spun as a gigantic golden roulette appeared. The runic diagrams on the roulette shone brightly as its defense was unparalleled. No matter how much energy blasted into it, it couldn't break through. The innate technique used by this ox demon was also an immortal art. Let's see who is stronger then. Qin Wentian erupted forth, his astral souls manifested behind him. His violet gold astral soul manifested as a terrifying silhouette floated behind him. The fiend god heavenly suppression fist frenziedly blasted out, each and every punch was augmented by his astral soul and constellation. Each and every attack seemed to contain the suppression of a true fiend god, containing an aura capable of fighting against the heavens. The ox demon was unceasingly forced back. Finally, with a deafening sound, his defenses were shattered. His gigantic body of 500 meters was completely destroyed. Rumble. 8 fifth-level Ascendant Golden Ox demons appeared at the same time, trampling through the air. This caused Qin Wenqian's eyes to gleam with an even more terrifying light. Were they trying to suppress him to the limit? Chapter 803. The 8 1,500-meter tall ox demons were all wielding terrifying golden spears in their hands. Just a single step forward was sufficient to cause the hearts of those who saw them to tremble. The pressure was too great. Although the battle hadn't started yet, Qin Wenqian could already feel a stifling pressure bearing down on him. Although these 1,500-meter tall ox demons were only at the 5th level of celestial phenomenon, their combat prowess was definitely sufficient to kill ordinary 5th-level celestial phenomenon ascendants with ease. Staring at the 8 ox demons advancing towards him, a fearsome battle intent erupted forth from Qin Wenqian. Since the battle had started, how could he retreat? He had to press forward, breaking through his own limits. He also wanted to see how strong his current combat prowess was without the aid of divine weapons or external treasures. The constellation manifested from his astral soul bloomed to the extreme. Behind Qin Wenqian, a gigantic shadow astral soul manifested. Behind him, a terrifying heaven-suppressing silhouette appeared, resembling a divinity. The might of his constellation revolved around it, blasting forth with boundless might. Die for me. Qin Wenqian spoke with cold arrogance. As he stepped out, numerous gigantic suppression-type silhouettes flashed with dazzling runic light as they unceasingly slammed into the bodies of the golden oxen. A few booming sounds rang out as the 8 demonic oxen were all forced backwards. They only felt their bodies shuddering from the impact, they instantly knew how terrifying this astral soul was. Bzzz, bzzz. The 8 gigantic ox demons brandished their spears, stirring up the wind and clouds. In front of them, an incomparably gigantic diagram appeared. This diagram was in the shape of a circular arc, and shone with boundless golden light. It was like an ancient golden shield that no attacks would be able to break through. No matter how fearsome the suppression might slammed into it, they still advanced forward step by step, advancing towards Qin Wenqian. How powerful! Qin Wenqian exclaimed in shock. The boundless suppression might blasted downwards, yet it still had no way to break through the incomparably gigantic shield diagram. Although cracks could be seen on the shield, the light radiating from the 8 ox demons instantly repaired the cracks, forming a marvelous shield formation. Rumble, Qin Wenqian rushed out. His gigantic body soared up into the air as boundless astral light cascaded down on him. He transformed into a true fiend god. With a flash of light, many of Qin Wenqian's silhouettes appeared in the air, all of them incomparably gigantic. At this instant, the many Qin Wenqian silhouettes all slammed downwards at the same time, their auras capable of destroying the heavens and earth. Rumble, rumble, rumble. One after another, their bodies slammed into the ancient shield. Finally, with a deafening sound, the ancient shield shattered. However, the long spears in the hands of the 8 demonic oxen pierced into the sky at the same time. The long spears intersected and shot out a beam of divine light, destroying everything in its path. Die! The spears swept out, piercing through the air, tearing apart the illusory silhouettes of Qin Wenqian, its strength capable of shaking the heavens. Bzzz. Qin Wenqian's wings flapped. His gigantic body was actually as swift as lightning. In an instant, he appeared in front of one of the silhouettes and blasted out a heaven-suppressing palm imprint. That terrifying runic light was enough to destroy everything. When a bull demon at the side saw this scene, it instantly pierced over with its golden spear. However, Qin Wenqian simply lifted his left hand and slapped out. Boundless runic light appeared in the air, transforming into a fearsome shield. Cracking sounds rang out as the spear pierced through the shield. However, at the same time, Qin Wenqian's gigantic palm imprint slammed into the chest of one of the demonic oxen. A destructive might gushed forth, and with a deafening boom, the body of that demonic ox exploded. Qin Wentian's silhouette flashed as he sped up into the air. However, he saw the 7 bull demons stomping on the ground at the same time as they soared up into the air. The spears in their hands clashed again, shooting out a beam of divine light that destroyed everything. Ta! Qin Wentian roared in rage. Both his legs stomped downwards, suppressing immortals and devils. A terrifying shadow blasted out, colliding with that beam of divine light. But despite that, Qin Wentian directly soared up into the air and floated there. Not bad. The Bull Demon King sitting on the throne spoke. With a wave of his hand, another Bull Demon appeared and moved towards Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian's eyes flickered. He glanced at the other 2 battlefields. Zi Qingshuan's battle speed was a little slower, she was still fighting against the demonic beasts a level higher than her. The speed of those demonic beasts was as fast as lightning. As for Jun Mengchen, he was fighting against the lion-tiger-like demonic beasts. His strength had already surpassed 2 levels. At this moment, Jun Mengchen seemed to be clad in a resplendent armor. His entire person exuded an unexcelled might, as though he was the king of the world. Just a single glance from him was sufficient to cause people to tremble. This junior brother Jun is so powerful. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. After that, he returned to his own battlefield. Seems like he shouldn't be in a hurry to destroy these powerful war beasts. He should properly enjoy the process of fighting to the limit, gaining insights through combat. Maybe, this was the purpose of the battle realms. Any experts who came here would be able to find the limits of their combat prowess and ultimately break through their limits. Upon thinking of this, Qin Wentian's state of heart relaxed a little. Staring at the 8 gigantic demonic beasts below, his silhouette flickered as he stepped out. Both his palms blasted downwards, as though 2 terrifying dragons were rushing out. The 8 demonic oxen attacked at the same time, directly breaking apart Qin Wentian's attack. After which, thunderous rumbling sounds echoed out as they sped towards 8 different directions, wanting to surround Qin Wentian within. Humph! The Annihilation Sword Constellation and the Annihilation Constellation appeared at the same time. Boundless sword light slashed downwards, as well as a terrifying suppression shadow. Qin Wentian's wings flapped as he dashed towards one of them. A long spear materialized in his hands as he abruptly stabbed out. This spear strike was like a bolt of lightning, containing boundless killing intent. The golden spear of the demonic ox also broke through the air, colliding with Qin Wentian's spear. A terrifying shockwave blasted into the bodies of the 2 of them. Qin Wentian borrowed the force of the impact to retreat, choosing another direction to attack. Although the situation was somewhat pressing, he was still able to handle it. This battle lasted as long as 3 days. Qin Wentian's earlier pinch was replaced with ease. It was as though his control over the various types of combat energy was getting stronger and stronger. In the past, he would always rely on his overwhelming strength to kill his opponents, and the duration of his battles would always be extremely short. He had never fought for a long period of time before. Now that he was in the battle realms, he could temper his innate techniques to perfection. If you deplete your astral energy, we can stop the battle and allow you to replenish it. The Ox Demon King on the throne spoke. Qin Wentian nodded his head, but he continued to battle. Only when the astral energy in his body was completely depleted did he stop. And during this process, he had slain quite a number of ox demons, but the Ox Demon King simply waved his hand and a new one would appear. Unknowingly, Qin Wentian had already fought for several months in the battle realm. His control over his constellation had also grown stronger. The fusion of true intense and true intense was also tempered through combat, gradually growing stronger. Today, the number of ox demons surrounding Qin Wentian had already increased from 8 to 32. The might of their attacks grew more and more terrifying. Only to see at this moment, in the battlefield, Qin Wentian stabbed out with his spear, causing the movements of the ox demons to slow down. With a rumbling sound, the body of an ox demon was directly crushed. Qin Wenqian's long spear broke apart upon contact as he instantly retreated. Behind him, a terrifying shadow of his astral soul could be seen. The shadow of Qin Wenqian's astral soul directly shot out in different directions, causing the ox demon to feel as though he was being surrounded. At the same time, Qin Wenqian's silhouette also arrived. He was like a beam of light as his long spear pierced through the ox demon's body. However, a thunderous rumbling sound rang out as the ox demon's body exploded once again. His attack speed seemed to have increased. "It's about time," Qin Wenqian silently mused. He stood in the air as an even stronger astral light radiated from him. His body seemed to be undergoing a transformation. "Suppress them for me," Qin Wenqian roared in rage. A moment later, boundless suppressive silhouettes and sharp swords slashed out simultaneously. Qin Wenqian's wings flapped as he moved like a bolt of lightning. Chi, chi, chi. Numerous beams of spear light shot out like lightning, accompanied by the destruction of the ox demons. An instant later, the entire space turned silent. Qin Wenqian floated in the air as his body underwent a transformation. The astral light around him grew even more dazzling. He was actually preparing to break through to the fourth level of celestial phenomenon. Not bad, after breaking through, he can directly fight against sixth-level ascendants. The silhouette on the throne spoke, a look of admiration could be seen in his eyes. In addition, given Qin Wenqian's overwhelming combat prowess, he could even fight against a sixth-level ascendant without any pressure. If this was in the external world, he would definitely be able to fight against seventh-level ascendants. Qin Wenqian's body shimmered with a bright light as rumbling sounds rang out from within. The constellations in the surroundings shone brightly, and after a long time, his aura grew even more powerful. His eyes gleamed with sharpness as he stared at the demon lord on the throne with a smile on his face. "Fight!" Qin Wenqian roared. The ox demon on the throne waved his palms, and a moment later, for sixth-level ascendants with the strength of 6,000 feet rushed towards Qin Wenqian, their auras growing even more terrifying. Qin Wenqian rushed out as the battle began. In the Battle Realm Palace, the three battles continued unceasingly. The three geniuses from the same sect forgot the flow of time as they immersed themselves in combat, not knowing exhaustion. In the external world, spring passed and autumn arrived. In the blink of an eye, 2 years had already passed since the battle in the Drifts Now City. Although the people of the Drifts Now City still remembered the shocking things that Qin Wenqian had done before, they gradually stopped talking about it. Only when they arrived at the ancient Drifts Now City would they recall that soul-stirring battle. During these 2 years, in the ancient Drifts Now City, beside the 9 immortality bells, there would always be a beautiful silhouette. This silhouette was none other than Pei Yu, causing people to feel pity for her. In the Battle Realm Palace of the Heavenly Talisman Realm, 3 silhouettes walked out. Jun Mengchen didn't forget to shout, "How exhilarating! Senior brother, your strength is truly powerful." At the end of the battle, even 64 sixth-level ascendants couldn't block your attack. Too powerful. Qin Wenqian glared at Jun Mengchen as he spoke, "You are even more awesome, choosing not to fight at the end." Your king's aura erupted forth, causing all the demonic beasts to prostrate themselves before you. What sort of existence are you exactly? I'm truly too tired from fighting. When I saw my senior brothers and sisters coming out, I couldn't be bothered to continue. The contours on Jun Mengchen's face were extremely delicate. It was truly hard to imagine how ruthless he was right now. It was simply too shocking. Chapter 804. Qin Wenqian and the other 2 exited the battle realm. The 3 senior brothers who led them here weren't here. This battle realm is truly mystical. I heard that anyone of any cultivation level can come here to temper themselves. The combat immortals here can adjust themselves according to our strength, and we can even choose different types of combat immortals. What a good place. Jun Mingchen spoke in a low voice. At this moment, two silhouettes flickered over. These two were none other than Fairy Su and the Saber Lord of Death. The senior brother who led Jun Mingchen here didn't come. You've exited, how do you feel? Fairy Su's gaze landed on Zi Qingxian as she asked. My improvement isn't small and I've broken through to the next level. Zi Qingxian replied. What about you guys? Fairy Su turned to Qin Wentian and Jun Mingchen. Me and senior brother Qin have also broken through to the next level. Senior brother Qin and senior sister Qingshuan's combat prowess is extremely strong, truly admirable. Jun Mingchen spoke. Fairy Su cast a deep glance at him and Qin Wentian. From the conversation between the two of them, regardless of Jun Mingchen or Qin Wentian, both of them were extraordinary characters with outstanding talent. Right now, she was no longer so confident that Zi Qingxian would be able to stand at the very top. Regardless of that transcendent senior brother or by Wuya, their judgment was extremely picky. How could the people they valued be weak? Fairy Su nodded. There are very few missions in the Heavenly Talisman realm that are suitable for celestial phenomenon ascendants. However, one just so happened to appear today. Do you guys want to go take a look? Senior Sister Su, what mission is it? Zi Qingxian asked. In the Immortal Realms, the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures are governed by the Dongxing Heaven Emperor. However, the Dongxing Heaven Emperor resides in the Eastern Sage Immortal Palace and external affairs are handled by his subordinates. Under the Dongxing Heaven Emperor, there's a transcendent power named the Dongshengshan Gate. The Dongshengshan Gate handles everything for the Dongxing Heaven Emperor and is controlled by his disciples. Fairy Su slowly spoke to everyone. Every 100 years, the Dongshengshan Gate would hold a grand banquet specially for those below the Immortal Foundation realm. The celestial phenomenon ascendants of the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures are invited to gather at the Dongshengshan Gate of the Eastern Prefecture. The most outstanding batch of people would be able to obtain immortal arts, innate techniques, and all sorts of treasures. The true purpose of the Dongshengshan Gate is naturally to recruit outstanding juniors to nurture their strength. The most outstanding 3 would directly become an honorary disciple of the Dongxing Heaven Emperor, and there's even a possibility that they might be accepted as his personal disciples. This time around, you guys can participate in the banquet and obtain immortal arts and treasures, tempering yourselves. At the same time, this is also a tempering exercise for you guys. If you become the most outstanding 3, you will be considered to have passed the test and the Heavenly Talisman realm will bestow you with peak-tier immortal arts. Fairy Su's voice caused the eyes of the 3 of them to flicker. As long as they succeeded, not only would they be able to obtain the innate techniques and treasures of the Dongshengshan Gate, they would also be able to obtain the peak-tier immortal arts of the Heavenly Talisman realm. However, the missions of the Heavenly Talisman realm were truly monstrous. It was so hard to find a mission that was suitable for celestial phenomenon ascendants. They had to become the most outstanding 3 out of the 13 prefectures before they could be considered to have passed the test. Didn't the Heavenly Talisman realm forbid us from entering the tutelage of others? Qin Wentian curiously asked. He felt some resistance towards this mission because the other party was none other than the Dongxing Heaven Emperor. This Dongxing Heaven Emperor was truly lofty and lofty. With a single command, the entire Eastern Sage 13 prefectures would move out in unison. The strongest 3 were merely honorary disciples. No wonder back then when he descended to this particle world, he didn't even bother to look at the geniuses. It was simply too easy for him to accept disciples. Countless people would come begging to him, all he needed to do was to sit in the Eastern Sage Immortal Palace and wait. The mission this time around is only to obtain the top 3 spots. It isn't to enter the tutelage of the Dongxing Heaven Emperor. The Saber Lord laughed. He then continued, if you guys really pass the test and obtain the immortal art and treasures, the Dongshengshan Gate will issue an order to recruit you guys as disciples. At that time, you guys better reject him. As the sound of his voice faded, a playful smile appeared on the Saberlord's face. Qin Wentian's heart trembled. You guys better reject him if you want to obtain the immortal art and treasures. Reject him, reject the Dongxing Heaven Emperor. Qin Wentian clenched his fists tightly. His eyes gleamed with a terrifying sharpness, exuding a hint of wildness. Back then, although the Eastern sage Immortal Emperor father and son gave him a chance to recruit a disciple, in truth, from Dongxing Ting's words, he could infer that the Eastern sage Immortal Emperor was doing this intentionally, wanting to humiliate him. Qin Wentian truly wanted to settle this debt with the Dongxing Heaven Emperor. However, the Dongxing Heaven Emperor was simply too powerful, he didn't even have the qualifications to meet him. The entire 13 prefectures were governed by him. Zi Qingshuan's countenance was as calm as ever. A wild smile also flashed on Jun Mengchen's face, causing Fairy Su's heart to tremble. These three fellows were indeed worthy of being the demon-level characters they recommended into the heavenly talisman realm. If ordinary people heard her words, they would surely be stunned or even panic. Rejecting the Dongxing Heaven Emperor wasn't something ordinary people would dare to do. In addition, they even wanted to obtain the immortal art and treasures of the Dongxing Heaven Emperor. This was simply a naked slap to their faces. However, these three fellows didn't have much of a reaction. Qin Wentian and Jun Mengchen both had a wild gleam flickering in their eyes. As for the consequences of rejecting the Dongxing Heaven Emperor, since the Heavenly Talisman Realm had already issued this mission, they would naturally protect them. Given Qin Wentian and the others' understanding of the Heavenly Talisman Realm, they didn't doubt this point at all. Do you guys want to take a look at the mission details yourself? Fairy Su asked. There's no need for senior sister. Should we directly move out and head to the Eastern Prefecture where the Dongshengshan Gate is located? Qin Wentian asked. How can it be so fast? The Dongshengshan Gate has just issued this order. The true recruitment period for the Dongshengshan Gate hasn't arrived yet. In addition, it's impossible for all the geniuses of the 13 prefectures to gather at the Dongshengshan Gate. First, we have to go through a preliminary selection process. Each prefecture will select 1,000 geniuses before they head to the Dongshengshan Gate. If you guys wish to participate, the Sabersman will send you all out from the entrance he entered from and head to the Cloud Prefecture. Based on your talent, you all have to emerge victorious or you won't be qualified to be a disciple of the Heavenly Talisman Realm. Fairy Su spoke with cold arrogance, her words causing Zi Qingxian to interject, Senior sister, we will definitely not let you down. Other than you guys, there might be other disciples of our Heavenly Talisman Realm participating. However, it's enough for you all to know each other's existence. There's no need to acknowledge each other as it would attract unwanted attention. If you all die during the mission, the Heavenly Talisman Realm won't stand up for you. Fairy Su spoke again. Qin Wentian and the others naturally understood that if they died, it would be because of their own incompetence. Even for the major powers in the external world, they wouldn't restrict their disciples too much. This was especially so for disciples who went out to temper themselves. Death was a common occurrence and the Heavenly Talisman Realm was even more lax compared to the other major powers. They wouldn't care about their disciples' matters and if they died in battle outside, not many people in the Heavenly Talisman Realm would know about it. Understood. The three of them nodded. All right, follow me. The Sabersman spoke. After which, he waved his hands and brought Qin Wentian and the others away. The Cloud Prefecture had a total of 81 counties and countless cities. However, the most flourishing city was naturally the Cloud Prefecture capital. This city was named after the Cloud Prefecture of the Cloud Prefecture and was the main city of the Cloud Prefecture. The Cloud Prefecture capital was an open-ended city that radiated a boundless amount of land. Right now, there were countless experts in the Cloud Prefecture capital. In the air outside the Cloud Prefecture capital, there would be experts soaring through the air. All of them were here for the selection test of the Cloud Prefecture. This was an opportunity that only appeared once in 100 years, none of the geniuses were willing to miss it. However, how could ordinary geniuses be able to grab hold of this opportunity? In the entire 13 prefectures, it was hard to imagine how many geniuses there were. Even though Qin Wentian and the other two were extremely confident in themselves, they still didn't dare to say that they would be able to obtain the top 3 rankings for sure. It was too difficult. The 13 prefectures were filled with countless demon-level geniuses. Nobody knew what sort of characters would emerge from them. However, at the very least, they could guarantee that there wouldn't be any problems during the selection test. If they couldn't even obtain 1 out of 1,000, it would mean that they were useless. Halt. Right now, the Cloud Prefecture capital, this city that was open to the public, had a ban on flying. In the air outside the city, there was an army of Immortal Foundation experts patrolling the area. Once someone wanted to fly into the Cloud Prefecture capital, they would immediately be stopped. I heard that right now, there are 81 countries in the Cloud Prefecture. The troops of the various countries have all been mobilized here to guard this place. The people below silently mused. More and more experts were obstructed, only Immortal Foundation experts with immortal light had the qualifications to continue flying through the air and enter the city. As for those below the Immortal Foundation realm, they had to pass the test before they could enter the city. If not, despite how vast the Cloud Prefecture capital was, it wouldn't be able to contain all the spectators of the Cloud Prefecture. At the same time, the true selection test had already begun outside the Cloud Prefecture capital. If one didn't even have the qualifications to enter the city, they wouldn't have the qualifications to participate in the selection test. This was also to prevent too many people trying to make up the numbers. Qin Wentian and the others were naturally stopped as well. They stood outside the Cloud Prefecture capital and stared at the armored troops. Seems like for this selection test, the Cloud Prefecture had made ample preparations. After all, the selection test this time around was a grand event of the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures. It was initiated by the Dongshengshan Gate, and the controllers of the 13 prefectures were all from the Dongshengshan Gate. If you want to enter the city to participate in the selection test, head to the testing area to participate. If you are only here to spectate, those below the Immortal Foundation realm are free to leave. The Cloud Prefecture capital will be temporarily sealed. A loud voice rang out from the air. Every once in a while, there would be someone calling out this sentence. That sinister voice caused countless people to be blocked outside the Cloud Prefecture capital. Brother Qin, let's go over. A person beside Qin Wentian spoke. This person was none other than Mu Yen. He and Qin Wentian were companions and came here together with the Saber Lord of Death. As for the identities of these people, the Saber Lord didn't say much and Mu Yen didn't ask as well. The rules of the selection test is to jump levels and battle puppets. For those who are a level higher, the challengers are puppets. Mu Yen and the others walked to the testing area. Before them, there were Immortal Foundation experts checking their cultivation bases. After that, there were rows of combat puppets. Evidently, everyone understood that there were too many people who wanted to participate in the selection test. Hence, even if this was the selection test outside the city, one would still need to have the ability to jump levels and battle puppets. Chapter 805. There are so many combat puppets. Qin Wentian glanced at the vast area ahead. There were several people currently accepting the challenges of the combat puppets. The prefecture lords of the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures are all from the Dongshengshan Gate, and this time around, the event was initiated by the Dongshengshan Gate. How would the prefectures dare to not do their best? Look at the Immortal Foundation experts patrolling the air. The resources of the prefecture are all being transferred to the Cloud Prefecture city. In addition to the fact that there are so many participants, how could there be a lack of combat puppets? Mu Yen crossed his arms in front of his chest as he spoke. What a grand formation, just like the world I came from. With a single call, hundreds would respond. The Eastern Sage 13 Prefectures is a world that belongs to the Dongshengshan Gate. Jun Mengchen casually spoke. Mu Yen started, his world. This fellow's tone was truly arrogant. He didn't know where his master brought all three of them here from. Could it be that his master wanted to recruit all three of them into his sect? Mu Yen didn't know that these three could be considered his martial uncles. Also, the Saber Lord of Death wanted him to participate in the selection this time around because it wanted to temper him. If he could pass this test, the Saber Lord of Death would consider recommending him to join the Heavenly Talisman realm. Cultivation Base Inspection. Qin Wentian and the others walked to the front of the Immortal Foundation experts. Two of them swept their gazes over the four of them, and with a wave of their hands, an imprint appeared on the chest area of the four's robes. Qin Wentian had the word 4, indicating that his cultivation base was at the fourth level of celestial phenomenon. Mu Yen had the word 8, Zi Qingxian had the word 5, and Jun Mengchen had the word 3. Let's go over. One of them spoke. The four of them walked through a passageway in the center and arrived at the combat puppets area. There were already several people waiting here, all of them were participants of the selection. These puppets are so powerful. Regardless of attack or defense, they are all extremely balanced, and can completely be compared to the combat prowess of a stellar martial cultivator. It won't be easy for them to jump levels and challenge these puppets. Someone beside Qin Wentian commented in a low voice. However, someone at the side glanced at the person who had just spoken and said, "If you're useless, then don't come here and embarrass yourself. Coming here to make up the numbers is just a waste of time. Furthermore, you should know that the selection later on might be life-threatening." Many people in the surroundings stared at the person who spoke. This person's tone was truly arrogant. There were many experts beside him and each of them exuded an extraordinary aura. Especially two of them, they were like the stars surrounding the moon. Not everyone knows their own limits. Many people think that they are very strong, but that is only because they have never seen someone more outstanding than them. By the time they see someone more outstanding, it is already too late. The fact that so many people have come to participate in this selection is to be expected. "There is nothing strange about it," said the person beside him calmly. Qin Wentian also glanced at this group of people. Although the words of this person weren't without reason, his tone was filled with arrogance and disdain. As for the two with the strongest aura, they didn't say anything. They only calmly stared at the combat puppets before them. "You, step out." The Immortal Foundation expert at the front pointed to one of the two. This person had a crown on his head and exuded a heroic aura. Standing in the crowd, he gave off a feeling of a crane among chickens. His eyes gleamed with starlight as he exuded boundless spirit. He stepped out. With a cultivation base at the 6th level of celestial phenomenon, he directly appeared in front of a 7th level combat puppet. It will be easy for Eternal Wind to defeat this puppet soldier. That's only natural. For the selection test of the Cloud Prefecture this time around, Changfeng has already secured a slot. Many people laughed. At this moment, the young man with the crown on his head had already started fighting against the combat puppet. His constellation flashed as a silvery white light flashed in the air. A terrifying silvery metallic tempest manifested, and in an instant, terrifying divine weapons howled in rage as they slammed into the combat puppet. The combat puppet suffered from the attacks unceasingly, causing rumbling sounds to echo out. If this continued, it would most probably explode from the impact. Enough. The Immortal Foundation expert in charge of the battle spoke. Only then did the young man named Changfeng stop. "Wait over there." That Immortal Foundation expert pointed to a direction. After that, the young man walked over and calmly stood there. However, he could hear the sounds of discussion in the crowd. Changfeng, he's Changfeng, a disciple of the Myriad Sage Sacred Academy. His talent is extremely high. Those with vast experience instantly recognized the young man. The Myriad Sage Academy had many faculties, and the Sacred Academy was a place to nurture the most outstanding disciples. This Yi Chang Feng was from the Sacred Academy of the Myriad Sage Academy. All of you, step out. The Immortal Foundation expert who was supervising the battle pointed to a young man who was the moon surrounded by the stars, as well as a few others around him. That young man was clad in white and had black hair that fluttered in the wind. His long hair casually draped over his shoulders, exuding a carefree aura. Duan Hong will definitely be more outstanding. Someone spoke. The white-robed young man with black hair walked out. His cultivation base was at the 7th level of celestial phenomenon and he was facing against an 8th level ascendant. Only to see Duan Hong releasing his constellation as numerous terrifying ancient mountains manifested in the air. Each of them was over 100 meters tall. Duan Hong waved his hands as the ancient mountains slammed downwards, smashing towards the combat puppets. Terrifying rumbling sounds rang out and an instant later, the Immortal Foundation expert in charge of the battle called for a halt, allowing Duan Hong to pass. As for the other participants, some were eliminated while others passed. Duan Hong of the Duan clan. It's rumored that his talent is the most outstanding among the younger generation of the Duan clan. Regardless of Yi Chang Feng or Duan Hong, both of them passed the preliminaries in a domineering manner and stood together with those who passed. There were already over 80 participants gathered there and with a single glance, only one or two of them could be compared to Yi Chang Feng and Duan Hong. After that, the preliminaries continued. The number of people eliminated far exceeded the number of people who passed. Even among the group of arrogant young men from the Myriad Sage Academy, there were still many who were eliminated. Those who dared to participate in the preliminaries are all those who are more confident in their combat prowess. Yet, the elimination rate is still so high. Seems like it's truly not easy to filter the participants in the Cloud Prefecture city. But the preliminaries outside the city would be able to eliminate all those who are here to make up the numbers. Qin Wentian silently mused. At this moment, the Immortal Foundation expert in charge of the battle pointed his finger at Mu Yen as he spoke, "The four of you, step out." Qin Wentian and his companions all had different cultivation bases. They were all assigned to different combat puppets. The combat puppet in front of Qin Wentian was in human form and had sharp eyes. This type of humanoid combat puppet was extremely powerful in both offense and defense. Bang! Qin Wentian rushed out. Terrifying runic light circulated in his palms, incomparably resplendent. He directly blasted out with his palm. That humanoid combat puppet lifted its palm and collided with Qin Wentian. Rumbling sounds of explosions rang out as the arm of the combat puppet directly exploded, spreading to its entire body. However, Qin Wentian instantly retracted his strength and didn't shatter the combat puppet into pieces. Pass. The Immortal Foundation expert kept the combat puppet away as he spoke. At almost the same instant, Mu Yan, Zi Qingxian and Jun Mengchen all defeated their combat puppets. This scene caused the gazes of many to be filled with sharpness as they stared at them. Which major power were these four geniuses from? They were actually so powerful. Okay, bring them into the city. When Qin Wentian and those who passed the test gathered together, there was an Immortal Foundation expert leading the way, directly leading them into the city. Only then did the guards at the city gate change direction, allowing the Immortal Foundation experts to enter the city. Within the city, there were people receiving them. This was a gigantic flying beast that was controlled by an Immortal Foundation expert. It was specially made to receive those who passed the initial test. Come on up. The Immortal Foundation expert on the flying beast spoke. After which, everyone mounted the gigantic flying beast and in an instant, the flying beast let out a shrill cry as it soared into the air, directly soaring through the air space of the Cloud Prefecture. Senior, where are we heading to? Jun Mengchen impatiently asked. The Holy Land of Combat in the Cloud Prefecture, the Cloud Heaven Arena. The next selection test will be held there. The Immortal Foundation expert replied. Everyone stood on the flying beast and stared at the vast ancient city below. It was extremely prosperous, and Immortal Foundation experts could be seen everywhere. There were also countless luxurious palaces and pavilions. The Cloud Prefecture city was the main city of the Cloud Prefecture. It was extremely vast. Even for an Immortal Foundation flying beast, it still took them 2 days to reach their destination. This made everyone understand why there were flying beasts to receive them. When they arrived at their destination, Qin Wentian's eyes gleamed with sharpness. His heart trembled as he stared ahead. What a magnificent battle platform! Beside him, Jun Mengchen exclaimed in admiration. The Cloud Heaven battle platform is the most famous battle platform in the Cloud Prefecture. This is the first time I've seen it. It's truly shocking. Mu Yen mumbled. He was also stunned by the scene before him. He had heard of the Cloud Heaven battle platform many times before, but when he saw it personally, he couldn't help but feel an intense impact. Numerous battle platforms shone with immortal light, floating above the clouds. Each and every one of them shone with a resplendent light, as though they were indestructible, able to withstand the immense pressure of combat. Above the entire sky, there were a total of 81 battle platforms. These 81 battle platforms were collectively known as the Cloud Heaven battle platforms of the Cloud Prefecture. In front of the Cloud Heaven battle platforms, was none other than the Prefecture Lord Palace of the Cloud Prefecture. That vast stretch of palaces extended all the way to the skies, rising higher and higher. At the highest point of the palaces, it seemed as though they were at the same height as the Cloud Heaven battle platforms. This was simply unbelievable. Below, was an extremely vast public square. The spectator stands at the highest point only needed to slightly incline one's head and they would be able to see the situation on the Cloud Heaven battle platform. At this moment, there were countless silhouettes gathered in this area. The selection battle had already begun, and there were thunderous roars echoing out from below. In the surroundings of the public square, there were troops patrolling the area, not allowing people outside to enter. Ordinary people could only spectate from the outside, but because the battle was happening on the Cloud Heaven battle platforms, they could still see it clearly. Next, this place shall be the battlefield for all of you. An expert riding on a flying beast pointed to the Cloud Heaven battle platforms as he spoke to the spectators. Beside them, there were even more flying beasts flying over. Evidently, more and more experts were being guided here. If this continued on, even after the preliminaries, the number of participants would still be astronomical. All the demon-level geniuses of the Cloud Prefecture were here. Chapter 806. On the flying beast, the geniuses stared at the Cloud Heaven arena only to hear Duan Hong asking, "What do we have to do to pass the selection test? What are the rules?" The rules are very simple. Do you see the battle halos of those experts on the Cloud Heaven arena? The Immortal Foundation expert pointed to the Cloud Heaven arena as everyone nodded their heads. Almost everyone had a resplendent battle halo around them. Some were strong, some were weak. The stronger the battle halo, the more resplendent it would be. The strength of the battle halos varies. On the Cloud Heaven arena, the battle halos would be born naturally. For those who won, they would be able to devour the battle halos of their opponents, stacking them on themselves. The weakest would be a 10-meter battle halo, a 100-meter battle halo, a 1,000-meter battle halo, and even stronger ones. That Immortal Foundation expert continued, this selection test will last for 81 days. After 81 days, we will choose those with the strongest battle halos. Is it a chaotic battle of cultivation levels? Someone asked. If this was the case, those with lower cultivation bases would be at a great disadvantage. No, those with a lower cultivation base can challenge those with a higher cultivation base. If they win, not only would they be able to devour the battle halos of their opponents, the Cloud Heaven arena would also bestow additional colors to their battle halos. For those with a higher cultivation base, they cannot take the initiative to challenge those with a lower cultivation base. The Immortal Foundation expert continued, "Look at the vast public square below, there are countless silhouettes. Other than those spectating Immortal Foundation experts, the others might all be your opponents. Also, there will be more and more people coming. If you want to win, it won't be easy. Go on." Everyone nodded their heads as they flew towards the vast public square. Below, the battle chi on the Cloud Heaven arena seethed. Qin Wentian and the three of them walked side by side, only to hear Mu Yen laughing. "The rules of this battle are truly direct. The strong plunder the weak, and they have to continuously defeat their opponents before they can plunder enough battle chi to become the final victor. But once they are defeated, their battle chi would be devoured, and they would have to start all over again. This is a battle that can only be won, not lost. Once we are defeated, the pressure would be immense." Qin Wentian nodded. After being defeated, there was still the simplest method, and that was to directly challenge those with resplendent battle halos and plunder their battle halos. However, for those with strong battle halos, it was already a representation of their strength. How could it be so easy to plunder their battle halos? Fortunately, the probability of us being defeated in the same realm is very small. A wild smile flickered in Jun Mengchen's eyes. His words contained a strong sense of self-confidence. Indeed, to the three of them who came from the Heavenly Talisman realm, it was extremely difficult to find someone who could defeat them at the same level unless that person was a demon-level genius like them. "This fellow is even more arrogant than Changfeng." Someone at the side glanced at Jun Mengchen. There were so many geniuses in the Cloud Prefecture. Changfeng and the others believed that he would be able to secure a spot in the top 1,000, but they didn't dare to say that no one in the same cultivation level could defeat him. After all, this selection was held in the entire Cloud Prefecture. There were countless geniuses. You might be strong, but there were others who were even more monstrous. The Yunzhou is far too big. Not to mention the most dazzling heaven's prides, there are countless hidden geniuses. By the way, Mu Yen, which day of the selection battle is today? Qin Wentian suddenly asked. The selection battle was held for 81 days. It's already the 8th day. We can be considered to be early. Mu Yen replied. For those who came late, they would have to directly challenge those who have already obtained powerful battle chi. That way, it would be faster, but the difficulty would be higher as well. As they spoke, their silhouettes had already landed on the public square. The experts around them were as common as the clouds. They were either Immortal Foundation experts or geniuses who wanted to participate in the selection battle. If we are late by too much, I'm afraid we wouldn't have any chance at all. An Immortal Foundation old man laughed. Qin Wentian and the others turned their gazes to him as they asked, "Senior, why do you say so? Don't you guys know that the battle chi in the Cloud Heaven arena has the ability to amplify one's combat prowess? The stronger the battle chi, the more terrifying your combat prowess would be. If you can condense a 10,000-meter battle chi, your combat prowess would increase by 10 times. At the end, for those with less battle chi, your accumulations wouldn't be able to surpass those before you. For those with exuberant battle chi, it would be extremely difficult for you to defeat them." That Immortal Foundation old man smiled as he reminded, his words causing Qin Wentian and the others to start. After which, they replied, "Many thanks for Senior's reminder. No worries. I can see that the few of you have extraordinary auras and should be the juniors of the major sections. Why didn't you guys come with your elders? Look at those geniuses from the major sects, they are all surrounded by experts. Their sects are all hoping that they can obtain victory and head to the Dongshengshan Gate of the Eastern Prefecture to pay their respects to the Eastern Sage Immortal Emperor." That Immortal Foundation old man laughed. Qin Wentian swept his gaze over this vast area. There were indeed many battle platforms here with experts as common as the clouds. For some of the major powers of the Cloud Prefecture, there were many experts from their sects accompanying them. After Yi Changfeng and Duan Hong arrived here, they directly flew in a certain direction. Naturally, they were heading towards the location where the experts from their sects and clans were gathered. Young people have lofty aspirations. However, the road ahead is filled with obstacles. The Eastern Sage Immortal Emperor sits high up on the throne. How can ordinary people have the chance to meet him? As for wanting to enter his tutelage, it's too difficult, too difficult. That Immortal Foundation old man sighed, yet he didn't notice the wild smile in Jun Mengchen's eyes. He came here to participate in this battle because of the mission given by the Heavenly Talisman Realm. His purpose wasn't to pay his respects to the Eastern Sage Immortal Emperor but rather, to reject him. To him, this was merely a test, a chance to temper himself in the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures, fighting against the experts of the 13 prefectures. Naturally, to Qin Wentian, there was another layer of meaning to this test. He was very much looking forward to being able to stand before the Dongxing Heaven Emperor and reject him. Senior, it's precisely because the road ahead is filled with obstacles that life is even more fascinating. Jun Mengchen's smile was as bright as the sun as he spoke. Emichim, that's right. Young people with such a temperament, how marvelous. The old man laughed. I'm filled with anticipation for your performance. Old Senior will definitely not be disappointed. Jun Mengchen replied. After which, the four of them inclined their heads and stared at the battle platform in the air. I'm filled with anticipation. The Immortal Foundation expert laughed heartily. His gaze roamed the surroundings and he could see the various major powers of the Cloud Prefecture occupying their own territories, exuding a majestic aura. Their disciples were all at different cultivation levels. How would it be so easy for these four little fellows to ascend the Cloud Heaven battle platform? In the airspace above the Prefecture King's Palace in the Cloud Prefecture, many experts were gathered. There were actually many powerful experts gathered in the airspace above the palace. In the center, was none other than the Idle Cloud Immortal King. The Idle Cloud Immortal King governed the Cloud Prefecture and was extremely powerful. He set up a throne in the air and sat on it. The people beside him were all experts from the Prefecture King Palace. In the seats below him, there were many experts from the major powers. These people were all people with extremely high statuses in the Cloud Prefecture. The experts sitting in the air were all immortal kings, the lords of their respective major powers. Not only that, they were the lords of the strongest major powers in the Cloud Prefecture. Big Brother Mu Yun is so powerful. He's at the 7th level of celestial phenomenon and there's no one who could defeat him on the battle platform. Right now, he has already condensed a battle halo of a few hundred meters. Beside the Idle Cloud Immortal King, a young lady around 20 years of age stared at a young man on the battle platform as a look of worship flashed in her eyes. Mu Yun naturally isn't bad. He would definitely be able to obtain a 10,000-meter battle halo. I actually hope that not only would he have a 10,000-meter battle halo, he would also be able to change the color of his battle halo. The Idle Cloud Immortal King laughed. Evidently, he held Mu Yun in high regard. Young Master Mu Yun is truly powerful. It wouldn't be a problem for him to jump levels to fight. He would definitely be able to obtain a violet gold battle halo. Beside him, an immortal king from the Battle Heaven's immortal manor laughed. Zhou Zhan, don't be so humble. The Battle Heaven's immortal manor has always been proficient in combat. This time around, there are many geniuses from your Battle Heaven's immortal manor competing for the battle halo. The Idle Cloud Immortal King laughed. Zhou Zhan was an immortal king from the Battle Heaven's immortal manor. His combat prowess was extremely high and he had an extraordinary status in the Cloud Prefecture. Immortal King, on that battle platform, Zhou Teng with a cultivation base at the 3rd level of Celestial Phenomenon is the youngest son of the Battle Immortal King. His combat prowess is extremely high and right now, he already has a battle halo of a few hundred meters. Someone at the side reminded, his words causing the Idle Cloud Immortal King to laugh. I've long heard that you, Zhou Zhan, wanted another son. To think that you would bring him here. Not bad. There are also many third-level ascendants on the other battle platforms, but they are all intentionally avoiding your youngest son, Zhou Teng. The various major powers all have a tacit understanding. Someone at the side laughed. Every time a supreme genius from the various major powers appeared on a battle platform, the others would naturally give way, not wanting to compete against them. At the very least, they wouldn't do so during the early stages. Maybe at the later stages, the competition would reach a climax and the participants would all clash violently. Someone took the initiative to leave the Cloud Heaven arena. Are there any geniuses who would like to fill up the vacancy? At this moment, the idle Cloud Immortal King stared at an empty battle platform as he laughed. Wu Yang, you go ahead. Not far away, a figure seated on a throne spoke. This person was none other than a peak power of the Cloud Prefecture, the Suppression Immortal sect. Wu Yang was over 10 meters tall, much taller than ordinary people. His entire body exuded a sense of might and his cultivation base was at the 4th level of celestial phenomenon. He soared up into the air and directly stood on the battle platform. Suppression Immortal sect, Wu Yang. He roared, his voice shaking the heavens. The Suppression Immortal sect, this man must be extremely powerful. Many of those who were preparing to challenge him silently mused as they shifted their gazes away. With someone from the Suppression Immortal sect acting, there's no one else who dares to accept the challenge. Those major characters on the thrones chatted and laughed. But at this moment, they saw a young man in white with flowing black hair slowly walking up the Cloud Heaven arena. Interesting. Someone actually accepted the challenge. The eyes of the crowd flickered as they stared at that young man. Merely courting death. The Immortal King of the Suppression Immortal sect spoke arrogantly. However, several people here let out exclamations of shock. The idle Cloud Immortal King's senses were extremely sharp, he could sense something strange. Many experts from the major powers stared at the young man who just appeared as their eyes gleamed with sharpness. The successor of the Drifts Now Master, Qin Wentian. A voice rang out. Although it wasn't loud, it was extremely clear. In just an instant, in this vast space, the voices gradually faded away, growing softer and softer. Chapter 807. 2 years ago, a major event happened in the Cloud Prefecture. The Jiang clan founded by Jiang Chao, the sacred ground for weaponsmithing in the Cloud Prefecture, was destroyed in a single day, leveled to flat ground. This matter shook the entire Cloud Prefecture. There wasn't a single person who didn't know about it. All the major powers were paying attention to it, wanting to know who it was exactly that destroyed the Jiang clan. Finally, the news circulated out. The person who destroyed the Cloud Prefecture was none other than a legendary character from the Drifts Now city of the Jiangling country, someone who had already passed away. This man was none other than the Drifts Now Master. Hence, everything regarding the Drifts Now Master as well as what happened in the Drifts Now city was dug out by others. Shocking news circulated around the entire Cloud Prefecture, becoming the topic of discussion. Nobody would have thought that the Jiang clan would be annihilated because of a minor character at the 3rd level of celestial phenomenon. And even more so, nobody would have thought that so many major powers of the Cloud Prefecture would be annihilated because of a minor character at the 3rd level of celestial phenomenon. That legendary Drifts Now Master could also be considered a peerless genius. Sadly, he had long died, his soul fused with the weaponized city. The commotion 2 years ago caused 2 names to resound through the entire Cloud Prefecture. One of them was naturally the Drifts Now Master, while the second was none other than Qin Wentian. And at this moment, the young man on the battle platform, the Drifts Now Master, as well as Qin Wentian. The successor of the Drifts Now Master, Qin Wentian. Gradually, the voices in this vast space grew softer and softer. Countless gazes turned to Qin Wentian, staring at the white-robed figure on the battle platform. This man, was he Qin Wentian whose name shook the world 2 years ago? And now, he appeared on the battle platform. In terms of fame, Qin Wentian's fame was even more resounding compared to any other ascendants of the Cloud Prefecture. Not only that, in this place, there were many major powers that still had a deep grudge with Qin Wentian that had yet to be resolved. Interesting, this young man actually appeared here. On the throne in the air, the idle Cloud Immortal King had an expression of interest on his face as he stared at Qin Wentian. This brat actually dared to leave the weaponized city to appear. Manor Lord, many people of our Battle Heaven's immortal manor have died because of him. Now that we no longer have the weaponized city, we will definitely get the geniuses of our sect to kill him on the Cloud Heaven arena. An expert from the Battle Heaven's immortal manor coldly spoke. He had a descendant who went to the Drifts Now city and died there. When he saw Qin Wentian, he naturally felt hatred for him. This brat needs to be killed. An expert from the Myriad Sage Academy coldly spoke. He actually appeared. This time around, he has to die on the Cloud Heaven arena. A voice rang out from the direction of the Nine Peak Immortal Academy. Many people from the major forces wanted to kill Qin Wentian. Back then in the Drifts Now city, Qin Wentian had offended too many people. Many of them were from major powers of the Cloud Prefecture. And now, these major powers all came to the Cloud Heaven arena to spectate. When they saw Qin Wentian leaving the weaponized city to participate in the selection, how could they spare him? So senior brother is so famous. Among the crowd below, Jun Mingchen saw that the atmosphere gradually turned silent. Countless people were staring at the Cloud Heaven arena where Qin Wentian was at as bewilderment appeared in his heart. Wasn't this fame a little too great? Everyone's attention was focused on him. Before this, none of the geniuses had such rallying power. Zi Qingxuan's eyes also flickered with a strange light. She glanced at Mu Yen who was beside her only to see Mu Yen smiling. Back then this fellow obtained a weaponized city and was coveted by many major powers. A great battle occurred and many people died there, hence he offended many. No wonder. That battle must have been a spectacular one or it's impossible for it to have such an impact. Jun Mingchen smiled. Mu Yen nodded his head lightly. That battle had indeed caused an uproar for a period of time. At this moment, on the Cloud Heaven battle platform, the instant Qin Wentian stepped onto the platform, a halo of battle chi could be seen revolving around him. This halo of light was over 10 meters in size, and contained a surge of battle might within it. One could clearly feel the existence of this battle chi. His opponent was the same as well. The halo of battle chi around him indicated that this was his first battle as well. This man had a muscular physique and was over 3 meters tall. Just by standing there, he gave off an intense pressure. Wu Yang naturally also sensed the change in the atmosphere. After which, his eyes flickered as though he suddenly thought of something. He stared at Qin Wentian and spoke, "You are the Qin Wentian who caused such a commotion in the Drifts Now city 2 years ago?" "That's me." Qin Wentian nodded lightly. "Good. I shall use your life to commemorate my first battle on the Cloud Heaven arena." Wu Yang's eyes flickered with excitement. Stomping his feet, a terrifying pressure gushed towards Qin Wentian, causing Qin Wentian's countenance to stiffen. Suppression energy, this Wu Yang actually cultivated the same type of energy as him. Only to see Wu Yang's entire body was shrouded by a suppressive light as he frenziedly rushed towards Qin Wentian. Every step he took caused boundless might to surge forth, his aura surging wildly. Those who could stand on the Cloud Heaven arena had already passed the preliminary selection and were able to jump levels to fight. And as a heaven chosen of the Suppression Immortal sect, Wu Yang's combat prowess was naturally extremely high. Bzz. Instantly, astral light flashed as his dreamworld constellation appeared. In just an instant, Wu Yang seemed to have fallen into a dream space. "Humph," Wu Yang coldly snorted. His constellation flashed as numerous stone tablets appeared in the air. Each of the stone tablets shone with a terrifying light as a suppressive might gushed forth. "Die!" Wu Yang waved his hands as the stone tablets shot out in all directions, wanting to suppress Qin Wentian's constellation. At the same time, some of the stone tablets shot towards Qin Wentian. A long spear appeared in Qin Wentian's hands. His illusory demonic energy was infused into the tip of the spear as he abruptly stabbed out. With a deafening boom, a stone tablet directly exploded apart. The speed of his attack was so fast that it was inconceivable. However, Wu Yang merely waved his hands as numerous stone tablets flew over. However, the long spear in Qin Wentian's hand danced in the air as beams of spear light pierced out with the speed of lightning. The instant the spear touched the stone tablets, the sounds of explosions rang out unceasingly as the stone tablets shattered into pieces. Every spear strike was extremely accurate and ferocious. A pair of wings unfurled on Qin Wentian's back as his silhouette flickered, shuttling through the constellation. Wu Yang waved his hands as the numerous stone tablets gathered together, transforming into an incomparably gigantic stone tablet that directly smashed downwards. The terrifying might of the stone tablet locked onto Qin Wentian, wanting to suppress him. Qin Wentian's long spear was like lightning as it pierced into the gigantic stone tablet. However, the spear was instantly shattered as the terrifying suppressive might slammed into Qin Wentian, causing him to retreat in retreat. You are truly useless after leaving the weaponized city. Choosing me for the first battle, I can only say that this is the stupidest thing you have ever done in your entire life, directly leading to your death. Wu Yang continued moving forward, only to see Qin Wentian's eyes flickering as he silently mused, this man's cultivation base is the same as mine, there's no need for him to prove himself by jumping levels to challenge him. As a heaven chosen from a major power, his combat prowess should be at the boundary of jumping 2 levels. This selection test is truly filled with crouching tigers and hidden dragons. This man was forced into retreat by Wu Yang. Seems like his strength 2 years ago was only because he borrowed the might of the Drifts Now city. Although his combat prowess is strong, it's still far from his reputation. The spectators mused as they stared at the battle in the air. Jun Mengchen asked in bewilderment, "Senior, why are you concealing your strength?" He and Zi Qingxian were very clear that although Wu Yang's combat prowess was extremely high, it wouldn't be difficult for Qin Wentian to defeat him. If my performance is too domineering in the first battle, how would I be able to plunder battle Qi? Mu Yen laughed, his words causing Jun Mengchen to blink. His senior brother was actually so sinister. Seems like you are truly too weak. Only to see Wu Yang stepping out with great strides. The stone monuments expanded once more, floating in the air as they frenziedly shot towards Qin Wentian. Each and every one of the stone monuments contained a tyrannical might within. Qin Wentian's silhouette flickered as he dashed forward. His long spear was like a bolt of lightning, striking out with such speed that it dazzled the eyes of the spectators. And at this moment, an illusion appeared in Wu Yang's mind. It was as though there were countless spears shooting towards him from all directions, exuding a terrifying light. Illusion. Wu Yang's will was resolute, he instantly knew that this was an illusion. He saw Qin Wentian's long spear piercing out from the gaps between the stone monuments. But this strike still required time, he was completely capable of blocking it. Qi, a light sound rang out as his throat was pierced through. Qin Wentian's silhouette was like a shadow as he appeared in front of him with the long spear in his hands. The tip of the long spear was pierced through the throat of his opponent. This bizarre spear strike was fatal. You underestimate my constellation too much. This is the dream realm we are in right now. Qin Wentian mumbled as he pulled out his long spear. An instant later, Wu Yang collapsed to the ground. His battle halo was directly devoured by Qin Wentian's battle chi, causing Qin Wentian's battle chi to soar by 10 meters. Wu Yang. The experts from the Suppression Immortal sect trembled. How could this be? Wu Yang actually died in battle. There were experts who came to clean up the battle platform. Qin Wentian wielded his long spear as he stood there quietly. He didn't leave and continued to accept challenges. Bzz. A raging wind gusted by, only to see a silhouette soaring up into the skies, landing on the cloud heaven arena. His gaze was incomparably sharp as he stared at Qin Wentian. Stepping out, his killing intent gushed forth. Battle Heaven's immortal manner, Zurius. This person's countenance was filled with killing intent. He was none other than the brother of Zurius, an expert from the Battle Heaven's immortal manor in the Drifts Now city. Both of their appearances were somewhat similar. His anger towered up into the sky as his killing intent soared to the clouds. He directly lunged towards Qin Wentian, blasting out with both his palms, causing the heavens and earth to tremble. You are still inferior to Wu Yang. Qin Wentian's eyes flickered, he directly abandoned the long spear and rushed out with lightning speed towards Suxinjian. His body was clad in runic armor, incomparably resplendent. When he blasted out with his palms, it was as though two gigantic star-seizing palms were grabbing out at the starry space, wanting to destroy everything. His palms collided with Suxinjian's palms and a deafening sound echoed out. Suxinjian screamed in agony as his arms directly exploded. After which, a palm imprint blasted into his body, shattering his vitality. Qin Wentian's battle halo directly gushed out, devouring the battle chi of his opponent. As for Zurius, he directly fell down the battle platform. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.